to the Chirano mines collided with a motorcycle, resulting in the detonation of the explosives. The Akufo-Addo-led administration, after the disaster, immediately constituted a 7-member reconstruction committee to commence the reconstruction of the green and environmentally friendly model town, which has seen the completion of 124 units for the survivors. The newly constructed model town, with 1 to 7 unit rooms, comes with auxiliary facilities such as the market, kindergarten blocks, inner roads, a water storage system, among key features and installations. Before we take you live to the community, here's a documentary together by the news team on the developments that took place within the 2-year period until now.
In January 2022, tragedy struck the heart of Apiatse, a vibrant community in the western region of Ghana. A devastating fire explosion wreaked havoc, claiming lives, injuring many, and leaving the entire community homeless.
It led to a huge explosion which claimed 13 lives in southern Ghana.
Dozens of homes were destroyed in this village near the town of Bogoso.
When the explosion occurred in Pristia Hune Valley, so initially I didn't know where to send them to. So I quickly made an arrangement with the bishop, Catholic bishop at Bogoso. They have a big hall, and then he accepted to accommodate all of them. Here we are talking about 1,050 people.
Some men from the assembly came. They told me, Father, we have no other place but your place because we have a very vast parish hall that can contain about 200 to 250 people at a time. And quickly, what Christ tells us in Matthew chapter 25 comes to mind. The corporal works of mercy. You provide shelter for the homeless. You provide clothes for the naked, food for the hungry, and you visit the sick, the imprisoned. So we came in, those that I had around, we came in, and then quickly we started putting the place in order.
Responding swiftly to the crisis, His Excellency Vice President Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia, on behalf of President Akufo-Addo, led a high-level government delegation to Apiatse.
For the houses that have been destroyed, we are already beginning to think about how to rehabilitate and rebuild for the community here. So I want to assure Nananum
2 years of relentless construction, determination, and unity have transformed Apiatse.
Very tragic incident which happened in Apieti when there was an explosion in the community, which literally wiped the whole community out. The situation then called for immediate, swift action. The president at the time dispatched the vice president, Dr. Bawumia, to visit the site and the scene and to ascertain for himself what was the state of affairs at that place. The government then had to move in very quickly to put in relief measures to bring some temporary relief to the residents of Apieti. I think by and large, the first phase of it was contained, and then we then had to come in, as in the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the permanent resettlement of the people of Apieti. And on this occasion, let me commend and applaud highly Dr. Joyce Ayi, a senior stateswoman, who dedicated so much time and effort in helping the ministry to raise the necessary funding to rebuild this community. And through Dr. Joyce Ayi, we were able to raise the needed funds to be able to rebuild the Apieti community.
We, the members of the committee, decided not to take any allowance at all, but rather we would also directly contribute to the fund. So far, so good. We are grateful for the privilege of being asked to raise the funds and to disburse the funds. There's still a lot of work to do. By the grace of God, so far we've been able to release funds as the need has arisen.
I then constituted a redevelopment committee chaired by Honorable Benito Usubio with very high-ranking professionals in our country as members, and they went to work.
We started by engaging the services of a consultant through procurement processes, and after which we also engaged services of construction companies. Bearing in mind the president's charge to us that it must be a model town and that it should conform to all the environmental and green concept.
I served on the Apiasi Reconstruction Implementation Committee, to give architectural support. We were very interested in several things that would constitute part of the green technology, especially the microclimatic concerns. We were looking at the materials that would be used in construction, the design of the building, what methods you could use to harvest rainwater, such that no matter which way it faced, by using indentations in the building and wide overhangs, you'll be able to cut down on the solar gain, which has an indirect impact on the energy of the buildings.
Dedi kan yebeda abanase se project kesi or the my local contractors no say yenye. Edan the my say yensi ne nyina 124. 1 bedroom, 2 room, 3 room, 4 room, 5 room, 7 room. Edan bia yesi emfa power tank mienu na ensi emu. Edan bia so yawo fan room. Oba bathroom so a yawo shower, yawo jacuzzi. Ni nyina yaye ni nyina ho adwumawie ura ye entrance mu aha no memorial park na ye the market so aye dey abaha ye clinic so enam kwam eno so ye be ya kan na school ni ha school dan so na yesi esiwo no from KG1 up to class 6 ye break na edisi ye no obu wa abontia ohunu eso emfaso ne bo kra de che even blocks of pampo yamfa ye workers yam free cran kumasi ama ye be fa bi wa sa de be ma at least wo so enya bi ato aduane adie na awere ho etu wo mu no e bi be free wo mu emu
ya fam Daniel tete me adwuma wo Apieti me amesini so me da ban na se wa ma misuma nya adwuma ye di hwe ebusua no
o aban de da na se ade ni sini de one farmer brony, what am I bibini? Am I saying you be almost 2 years in the Tarano? You can't say Sicasemo, Yengia Cotaria near Boya Ketua.
May a painter wa piety a barbine basso, sa piety, wabe sumwa, or the ama contractor, yes, so yenye bia ye, ya dabayasi, say yenye bia ye de besha yema.
Ya dampen for nasi, so we say ha maye, ayen so, o mamma ye jumama. Ya the share yembani ebusianfo. The real way says Dana Dana Fepa, Domasi, a henna one can school ni by a baya boy, Momesi school a me.
Near 5 rooms, a buye. Baninya and cornerstone. New development now, banner by that ban. Amaya schools, Yenya market, near leaving Kotai. Ye need you as a buy a bad romantino. Amaya Kota, even Memorial Park, crying, shame crying.
Under the visionary leadership of the President, His Excellency Akufo-Addo, and Vice President Dr. Bawumia, with support from corporate Ghana, Apiatse stands rebuilt and rejuvenated, ready to be handed back to its resilient and hopeful residents.
Jesse Benjamin, my community, Apiatse community. I'm saying, I say, me see, you know. You couldn't de Ushana and Shada and Yakaset to say the Yahun CCI. Would did them final first na sanity, but ne Yahun see. Into a baby, Usha environment, a half it, Ubaha won't say half it. No mum, their kitchen, yes, say, their kitchen, no more my non fast from Jumla. The mass.
Expressing this sea, no Kurumaha, a kami. Me dying say, and go pound out of my dia or Mrs. Hoy. Mid or mobile in the meeting room. It is a meeting Mose, me whom me dying, and now my child, me down.
Or John Wappy at heavy. As I'm senior, and I'm more all sight here. The sister about the fair I am lady. Abu Hajuna, I said, the carol can be a Poritang Bibia Yenya, that then as papa, why ye be.
We are suffering now who you cry and a friend appear. Bra, as some see the way I now, a chronusi, etse. Nessi also, Yesham Crona, ya, your bob man penina bound the wire, I didn't mission be brave. Because some of Hobby and many aje. O do I hold ye, sharing had the shame, I did, and soon in nature, you know. Rebecca there, Yaro who nature, and Nijika Crasso, Abba.
The many minute. Sir, at we enter me to appear to me. You call home, Papa, Nanso. Your man penny that woman. Assembly see what about Boboy, saying one and can be at the time in Poyen, I antitasi. A binum film, so you know my piano. Why shall you be do them time? Your dorman penny nasi. One out do yakasa, why then, why ye, or damn my hand. Now, all the auto the so. Sincerely, you whom they hear Diana or say, you know, why and fe.
Mebo Abaina Basso say, reconstruction team now, or the man say, almost easy appear to no. O my idea, my born my basso. They say, appear tea, Rono, Abaya for crime, be a sea honor, we will say, Abino, I idea.
I should say this, that in all humility and modesty, I feel very proud.
Where the Vice President is ready.
Support Fund, Metropolitan Municipal by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abujinafor, and comprised of members of professional institutions in the relevant fields and from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. May I please crave your kind indulgence to mention the names and those selfless, hard-working persons on the committee who have brought the project this far. And I mention Honorable Benito Utsubio, Mr. Sylvester Ajonu of the Ministry of Works and Housing and Director of Rural Housing, Mr. Kojo Yeboah of LUSPA, Mr. Mohammed Damba of LUSPA, Mr. Charles Jobanuku, Ghana Institute of Architects, Mr. Charles Blankson Hemans, Ghana Institute of Architects, Mr. Robert Jemfi, Resettlement Specialist of the Chamber of Mines, Nana Nyuamache Bafo, Ghana Institution of Surveyors, Nana Atakojo Bremibi, Divisional Chief of BIPO. Later on, co-opted members were Honorable Kwabna Ochre Daku Mensa, Western Regional Minister, Honorable Isaac Dasmani, MCE Pristia Huni Valley, Dr. Walenea Sebi, Director Water Resources, Mr. Samuel Akwakwa, GHA, Yaosafo ECG, Mr. Obing Poku, Ministry of Sanitation, and Mr. Frank Osei Setre. Thank you very much, committee members. I would definitely like to take this opportunity to publicly thank you for your work. Very quickly, I'll run through what actually happened. Between February 22 and July 2022, we had committee meetings. We organized an open ideas competition published in the Daily Graphic. And then also the temporary works were done at the Dumasi resettlement site after rainfall destroyed the relief camp. August 2022, we went for PPA approval. 5th September 2022, the contract commenced for 124 houses. December 2023 was the original completion date, and we are commissioning the project today, May 2023, giving a contract duration of 18 months. Our scope of works as a committee was to oversee the planning, design, and reconstruction of the Apieti Township into a modern, green, and eco-sustainable community. The master plan designed by LUSPA was to accommodate about 870 people on an area of about 205 acres. To a large extent, the plan maintains the pre-disaster cultural settings and lifestyles of the people by providing varying land sizes, access roads, and networks, as well as communal land uses that keep the community closely knit. The planning was for 185 square meters, 279, 372, and 585 square meters. The scheme was developed along the lines of an eco-community, green community development, with emphasis on building design, energy efficiency, water conservation, sustainable site development. The houses were designed to reflect the socio-economic and cultural needs. Adequate cross-ventilation by the use of large open windows and adjustable louver blades were provided. Other design considerations included wide overhangs, courtyard spaces, harvesting of rainwater, the use of compressed earth bricks fitted in with the use of building materials that was available locally. Whilst we would have liked to have covered as much of the green technology requirements as possible, we did have a few challenges and provided as much as we could. Aside of the housing units, other social amenities included school, markets, green belt and memorial park, which will be commissioned today, play areas. Infrastructure included roads, electricity, water, and street lights. The project consists of 1 to 7 bedroom house types, and the details, which because of the rain I cannot read, are in the brochure that have been provided. So that will give you the total number, but suffice to say 124 houses have been built. At this occasion, I'd like to also thank the contractors, and for the sake of what we have to do, I'll mention them quickly. Lot 1 was done by Builders.com, Lot 2 by Finest Elevation, Lot 3 by Megatech Plus Engineering, Lot 4 by Maxams, Lot 5 by Macastro, and Lot 6 by Savannah Grand. Phase 2 is made up of houses, and this covers Phase 1. Phase 2 is made up of houses that were damaged during the explosion, and therefore works have commenced on the Phase 2. Phase 3 is made up of additional houses that were destroyed or demolished during the construction works, and this will be commissioned by His Excellency the Vice President this afternoon. In summary, we would like to express our gratitude to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo, for inviting us to sit on the committee to provide our professional support in this disaster remediation. We trust that we have assisted in reconstructing the Apiasi Township and hope that this serves as a foundation to enable the good people of Apiasi to rebuild their lives. Thank you very much. And I salute the good people of Apiate. Thank you.
Ensemble. Apiate for more ha. Apiate for more hana. Mentewako. Apiate for more ha. Now, Vice President Sebenkacha will say, Eja, and I Ediambaha, and then so, and I Asia and Quine. No, the Neokan and say, and so mo, Ojamo, on him one,
Inti abayi bi environment.
Inti so ya etwe, Emuna Babukra, Sansa Oha to serve the people of Apiate, to serve the people of Ghana. One first about the Vice President and the MPP presidential candidates. For brevity and for the sake of time, I would like to invite one of the most adorable ministers we have. Is very smart, energetic, efficient, and of course, generous. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the MP for Damango, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo.
Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Western Region, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Deputy Minister for Education, Chairman and members of the Apiate Reconstruction Implementation Committee, person and members of the Apiate Support Fund, Chairperson of the Minerals Commission, Municipal and District Chief Executive, clergymen, Nananom, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is grateful to the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, for his dedication and continuous support to the ministry, and for accepting to perform this consequential of commissioning this modern and green reconstructed Apiate community. Indeed, since the unfortunate incident of 20th January 2022, the Vice President has been very instrumental in bringing relief to the people of Apiate, including leading a government delegation to this community, immediate aftermath of the incident, and making a personal donation towards the initial relief efforts. Therefore, appropriate and heartwarming to have the Vice President, who has been with the people of from the very beginning, commission this edifice to restore hope to the victims of the incident. Outset, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources wish to reiterate our condolences to the victims. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, wow. There's a lot of water because it's important, otherwise it can fall on him. So we can continue. We can continue, huh? We can continue. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this incident called for at least 3 immediate actions. The first was the provision of emergency. That is why the Vice President led a delegation to commiserate with the victims of the incident. Personal donation towards bringing relief to the people of Apieti in those devastating times. On the instruction of the President, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, mobilized to this town to provide the emergency relief. With the support of the Catholic Church, victims who were rendered homeless were housed at Close Parish Hall at Bogoso. Subsequently, in partnership with FGR, temporary accommodation form of tents were erected at the community for displaced families. FGR again gave us 4 buildings at Dumasi, which the Apieti Support Fund later roofed and refurbished to house the affected as the rains began to fall. Through these efforts, we have been able to provide decent temporary accommodation for all victims of the incident up to date.
A senior stateswoman who dedicated so much time and effort in helping the ministry to raise the necessary funding to rebuild this community. And through Dr. Joyce Ayi, we were able to raise the needed funds to be able to rebuild the Apieti community.
We, the members of the committee, decided not to take any allowance at all, but rather we would also directly contribute to the fund. So far, so good. We are grateful for the privilege of being asked to raise the funds and to disburse the funds. There's still a lot of work to do. By the grace of God, so far we've been able to release funds as the need has arisen.
I then constituted a redevelopment committee chaired by Honorable Benito Usubio with very high-ranking professionals in our country as members, and they went to work.
We started by engaging the services of a consultant through procurement processes, and after which we also engaged services of construction companies. Bearing in mind the President's charge to us that it must be a model town and that it should conform to all the environmental and green concept.
I served on the Apiasi Reconstruction Implementation Committee, to give architectural support. We were very interested in several things that would constitute part of the green technology, especially the microclimatic concerns. We were looking at the materials that would be used in construction, the design of the building, what methods you could use to harvest rainwater, such that no matter which way it faced, by using indentations in the building and wide overhangs, you'll be able to cut down on the solar gain, which has an indirect impact on the energy of the buildings.
Dedi kan yɛbɛda aban no ase sɛ project kɛseɛ sei wɔde maa yɛ local contractors no sɛ yɛnyɛ. Ɛdan yɛde maa yɛ sɛ yɛnsi ne nyinaa 124. 1 bedroom, 2 room, 3 room, 4 room, 5 room, 7 room. Ɛdan biara yɛsɛ yɛmfa power tank mmienu ɛna ɛnsi emu. Ɛdan biara so yɛwɔ fan room woba bathroom so a yɛwɔ shower yɛwɔ jacuzzi a ne nyinaa yɛayɛ ne nyinaa ho adwuma awie wura yɛn entrance mu a aha no ɛyɛ memorial park na yɛde market so ayɛdɛ aba ha yɛ clinic ɛso so ɛnam kwan mu ɛno so yɛbɛyɛ aka ho na school ni ha school dan so na yɛsi esi wɔ no from KG1 up to class 6 yɛ break na yɛde si yɛ no obi wɔ abɔnten a ohunu ɛso ɛmfa so ne bo kora ɛde kyɛ even blocks of pampo yɛamfa yɛwɔ kɛse mfiri nkran ne kumase ama yɛbɛfa bi wɔ sɛdeɛ bɛma at least wɔn so ɛnyɛ bi atɔ aduane adie na awerɛho ɛto wɔ mu no ebi bɛfiri wɔ mu emu
yɛfrɛ Daniel Tete yɛ adwuma wɔ apieti miamesini so mi da aban na se sɛ wama misuma nya adwuma ɛyɛ de hwɛ abusua no
o aban de da na se sɛ ade ne si ni de wan fama broni woda ma bibini ama yeso enya bi almost 2 years ni ye tara no ye ka se sika se mo de ye ngi akotare ne ye boa ye gi akatua
me ye painter wa piete e bo aban abaso sa piete wa be so mu a ode ama contractor ye so ye nya bi a ye da aban ase se ye nya bi a ye de behwe ye ma
ye dan penfo na ase so mo esiesie ha ma ye a ye nso o ma me adwuma ma ye de hwe ye mba ne yebusuafo the way we say dan efe pa ye do ma ase na ye wan kan na school ni ha ba aban aboyen mo esi school amen
me dan 5 rooms ebuye ba ni nya nko nso new development na ban da ban ama ye nya schools ye nya market ni even kotai ye ni biwase ba ya ba da romantic no ama ye nya kotai nya even Memorial Park Shen Crime,
Under the visionary leadership of the President, His Excellency Akufo-Addo, and Vice President Dr. Bawumia, with support from corporate Ghana, Apiatse stands rebuilt and rejuvenated.
Done for the people of Apiati. I want to use this occasion to single out the former Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, former Member of Parliament for Pristia Huni Valley, Chairperson of the Minerals Commission, and Parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party for the Pristia Huni Valley constituency, the Honorable Lawyer Mrs. Barbara Oting Jesse, for her extraordinary leadership and support. She has been on us morning, afternoon, evening, midnight to ensure that we rebuild this Apiati community. And I think a lot of the credit goes to Honorable Barbara Otin Jesse. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, if anybody thought that governments do not keep their promises, the Vice President made a promise to the people of Apiati, and this is a promise made, a promise kept. And if anybody thought that governments cannot deliver, President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia's government has demonstrated that there is a government here in Ghana which is delivering, which will deliver, and which will forever deliver for the people of Ghana, the people of Pristia Huni Valley, and the people of Apiati. And so, Nana, ladies and gentlemen, join me to invite and welcome the man with bold solutions for the future. The man who believes that it is possible to build Apiati back. The man who believes that it is possible to bring comfort to the people of Apiati. The man who believes that it is possible to turn things around. And the man who believes that it is possible to break the eight and transform our country into a country of prosperity, of progress. Ladies and gentlemen, the next President of the Republic, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our eminent clergy, the Western Regional Minister, Kobe Ochridako, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and MP for Damango, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, our Minister for Information, Fatima Abubakar, the Minister Designate for Gender, Dakwa Newman, the Deputy Minister for Education, Reverend Tim Fogio, an MP for Asen South, the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and MP for Takwa Nsrayem, Honorable Miracle Duka, Chairman and members of the APHC Reconstruction Committee, Nana Atakwajo Brembi, the second Divisional Chief of the Fiasi Traditional Area, Barbara Otengesi, Chairperson of the Minerals Commission, former Member of Parliament, and the parliamentary candidate for Pristia Huni Valley constituency, incoming. MMDCs, directors and staff of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Sarkin Zongo, Sarake, then the imams, distinguished members from the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On Thursday, 20th January 2022, a very tragic incident occurred in this community at this same place where we are gathered today. A sudden explosion shook our foundations, shattered our lives, and left scars etched deep into our collective memory. It left the Apiasi community and indeed the entire country in deep sorrow and distress. The following day, on behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I led a delegation which included ministers, heads of security agencies, and National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, and other officials of the presidency to commiserate with the victims of the incident. I saw at first hand the devastation that the incident has caused to this once vibrant community, with some of our people unfortunately losing their lives and others suffering various degrees of injuries, as well as the near total collapse of the entire Apiasi community. Yesterday, a candlelight vigil was held here to commemorate the souls that were lost on that fateful day. Their absence leaves an ache, a void that cannot fully heal. But in this gathering, we find solace, a shared space where our grief is not a burden in solace, but a testament to the death of our bonds. May their souls continue to abide in the bosom of the Almighty till we meet again on the day of the resurrection. Ladies and gentlemen, Today we gather at this same venue, not just to commemorate the tragic event, but also to celebrate resilience, compassion, and the indomitable spirit of the people of Apiatse. While mourning those who lost their lives through this tragic incident, we stand in solidarity with the survivors who bear both physical and emotional wounds and recognize the heroic efforts of our emergency responders, exemplified in the selflessness that defines our nation. But adversity has a way of revealing our strength, the strength to rise, rebuild, and reimagine. From this tragedy emerged resilience, the resilience to rebuild the community, the resilience to bring hope to the suffering, and unwavering commitment to lift the downtrodden. As if God has given us a message today. We had fire that destroyed this community in many ways. And today, as we are here to commission and inaugurate these housing units, this rebuilt community, God is sending down water to basically tell us it is okay. As we can all attest, government through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources acted swiftly following the incident, and in collaboration with other ministries, departments and agencies, relief was brought to the victims of the incident through the provision of relief items, the diversion of the road that was blown away and its eventual fixing, and the provision of temporary accommodation for all those displaced. But were we going to end up there? Not at all. Government took it upon itself to see to the reconstruction of the community, to provide a permanent place of abode for the residents of this community, and to restore them to dignity, to the dignity they deserve. So when I came here, immediately after the incident, the president asked me to let the community know that this community will be rebuilt, the houses will be rebuilt, and therefore I made that promise on behalf of His Excellency that government will rebuild. And as we can all see, the president has delivered on this commitment. Today, we stand on the precipice of a new dawn, the rebirth of Apiatse, with the completion of 124 housing units, together with other social amenities to replace what was damaged by the explosion. We found strength in the face of the devastation, hope amidst despair, and unity of purpose despite the disintegration. We are grateful to all who offered support in our time of need, whether through words of comfort, a listening ear, or of a need or a temporary place of abode. We are grateful to the various committees, the Apiatse Support Fund, the Apiatse Implementation Committee, the experts, and the consultants. I'm happy that we have done it together. We owe it to the victims of the incident, their families, and our entire nation to prevent such tragedies in the future. Nananom, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I cannot end my speech without paying a glowing tribute to His Excellency the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, whose commitment and tenacity has led to the construction of this new community. As we heard from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, President Akufo-Addo was the first person to donate to the Apiatse Support Fund, a sign of his compassion and dedication towards the rebuilding of this community. In addition to this donation, President Akufo-Addo directed that $5 million out of the $6 million administrative fine imposed on the company at the center of the explosion be paid to the Apiatse Support Fund to support victims of the incident and the rebuilding of this community. Such a selfless and compassionate gesture. To the indefatigable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, who has led this project from the beginning to date, I say thank you for your exemplary leadership and dedication. Your commitment, Minister, and relentless zeal in seeing to the completion of this project has been unwavering. This is why I refer to him as the bulldozer minister. He just clears problems away. He gets things done. I am aware of the several visits, Minister, that you made to this community to assess progress of work and to ensure that the contractors execute the project on schedule. The people of Apiatse are grateful for your services. I count on your dedication to see to the completion of phase 3 of this project. I will also be remiss if I did not single out for special mention Honorable Barbara Oting Jesse. The chairperson of the Minerals Commission, former member of Parliament for Prestia Hune Valley, and a parliamentary candidate, Inshallah, the incoming MP for Prestia Hune Valley, Inshallah. She has been very dogged in her desire to see this project completed. She was always pushing and pushing. And I know that she has the people of Apiatse at heart and the people of Prestia Hune Valley constituency at heart. Barbara, thank you so much for all that you have done. Well done, well done. Nananum Muamoba Barbara Otingesi, former MP. Wabo modempa wa ejuma yebitimi ye wa hano. Mumbo na baso. Mimi bona baso. Musu mumbo na baso. Obo moding President Nana Akufo-Addo. Oshe mubo se asema isi ye no. Obe si adan fufuro ama munyina. Okae no so wedi so ene nyame adom yewie sadan yi 124 housing units. Nana Akufo-Addo oye osie idea oye enyesa oye yedana se nyame nshirani nyina munyina bako. Salamu alaikum.
In January 2022, tragedy struck the heart of Apiatse, a vibrant community in the western region of Ghana. A devastating fire explosion wreaked havoc, claiming lives, injuring many, and leaving the entire community homeless.
Led to a huge explosion which claimed 13 lives in southern Ghana. Dozens of homes were destroyed in this village near the town of Bogoso.
The disaster. The blast occurred near the city of Bogoso, about 300 kilometers, 180 miles west of Accra. The explosion occurred when a motorcycle under a truck carrying explosive that was en route to the gold mine at Bogoso. Now, because the motorbike went beneath the truck, it detonated the explosives. After the blast, the people in the community rushed to the scene when a second blast occurred, killing and destroying properties. NADMO's report showed that a total of 3,300 people were affected. Now, that was made up of 1,122 males and 2,178 females, with over 500 buildings destroyed and over 17 people confirmed dead and over 59 persons sustaining various degrees of injuries. Now, 1,500 people were rendered homeless. The explosion blew off roads in the area. A three-member committee that was led by former CEO of Minerals Commission, Mr. Benjamin Ayi, completed the fact-finding mission, submitted the report to the Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Jinapo, and this was on February 1st, 2022. Now, on February 3rd, President Akufo-Addo constituted a 7-member multi-sectorial committee and tasked them to assess the impact of the disaster and build a green and environmentally friendly model town. On February 7th, government slapped Maxam Company Limited, the company at the center of the Piazzi explosion, with a $6 million fine for regulating the manufacture, storage, and transportation of explosive for mining and other civil works. The company, on February 8, 2022, paid only $1 million. Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy called on Ministry of Lands to expedite the works on the reconstruction of the Piazzi community. A memorial service was held in honor of all the lives that were lost on the day of the explosion on the Bogoso-Bodje Highway. Well, the government today presents 124 housing units to the survivors of the Piazzi explosion after 2 years. And we just took you to the grounds where you heard the Vice President talking. Earlier today, we actually conducted some interviews with some person. One of the people we spoke to was Manasseh Atabuahin. He happens to be the spokesperson for the Ministry of Works and Housing. Let's take the interview.
And from 2017 to date, the current government has been able to reduce the housing deficit by some 200,000 housing units. And so we still begin to do more. And what we are doing currently, especially in the Greater Accra region, is that across the region, there is some 10,000 housing units that are being constructed. Currently, when you go to Pokuase, we've started the groundwork for the construction of some 8,000 affordable housing units. Again, when you go to Tema Community 26, there is this affordable housing units by the Tema Development Company, and they've been able to build some 1,072 housing units already, and they've commenced work for the construction of additional 800 housing units.
Now, let's talk about this particular project.
Sure.
In terms of involvement, in terms of participation, I know it is a collaborative work between the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry and the the committee that was being set up to superintend over these projects.
Exactly.
But from your end, the Ministry of Housing and Work, how involved were you in this project?
Right. So the collaboration from the part of the Ministry of Works and Housing has been that the Department for Rural Housing is also on the committee that were duly involved in the reconstruction of Apiati. And so when you even look at the modeling, how we use the earth bricks in the construction, it is some kind of modeling that is quite of a higher standard to what the Department of Rural Housing is using. And so from the ministries, and we have a strong force representative in the form of the Department of Rural Housing, which have been very, very integral in ensuring we are able to put up these structures as well.
You've mentioned the modeling and the form of bricks that were used and everything. What informed this kind of modeling? Normally, if you are building houses in Ghana, we see people using the normal bricks, the normal blocks and everything. But if you look at these new apartment that has been constructed, we use bricks and there's roads in between. You see that the arrangement and everything was in point. What informed this modeling?
Okay, so when you look at the way the buildings are, you realize that we used compressed earth brick. And the government, from the very day the mishap happened, government promised to ensure we are able to reconstruct Apiate, to ensure that we build an eco-friendly community, which would be of higher standard and also to serve the people of Apiate very well. And so what went into it was that, indeed, when you look at the construction industry, you realize that the more you use foreign materials, the more the cost of construction goes up. But when it comes to the compressed earth brick, you realize that these are bricks that have been molded by Ghanaians. And so the more we use localized materials, we are also able to reduce the cost of construction. And again, it enables government to engage Ghanaians by way of employment, because our own people, our brothers and sisters who will be involved in the company that does the molding of the bricks. And so when you look at the thinking that went into it, the essence of this is to ensure that one, government is able to create more jobs, and two, we are able to use local materials. The more we use local materials, the more we are able to bring some more sustainability into our economy as well.
So you've spoken about the model, but looking at this and looking at the housing deficit Ghana is currently bewildered with, and looking at the lot of slums we have in the country, how can we transfer or sort of move this model in building affordable housing across the country? Because you look at the type of affordable housing that we have been commissioning, affordable housing that we have been cutting sod and building in the country, they are not really that affordable. So how can we move this model and make sure that we extend it to the larger communities?
Okay, so that's why we have the Department for Rural Works that are part of this committee. What government seeks to do is to ensure we are able to replicate same in various parts of the country. And so we have what we call rural housing and district housing. Very soon, government would pilot the construction in some districts, about 32 districts. And we seek to use a model of this sort, so that one will use more of local materials. Two, we are going to engage a lot more of Ghanaian local contractors who will use local Ghanaian artisans, so that in the end we'll be able to have some more respite as it relates to the kind of housing units we are able to build. And so government is really concerned about the housing units and the housing deficit as well. And we are confident that in the coming days we'll begin to roll out some rural housing construction and even district housing, and it will be of a similar sort, like how the Apiate reconstruction has been done.
So that's to say that this project in Apiate was done by local contractors?
Absolutely.
Fully local?
Absolutely.
100% local contractors?
100% local contractors, yes.
Okay.
Local. In fact, when you even observe from the video, the short video that was going around, you would find some of the contractors speaking to that effect. Government was deliberate in ensuring that, one, we use local contractors. There is no point in government engaging the services of foreign contractors where you would have to even pay them in dollars and all of that. So this has been a local project, and government is happy we have been able to create more employment opportunities for local people, for our own people, and we are confident very soon we'll begin to roll out some more district housing and even rural housing, and it will be of the same format, and it is the local people who will be used for all these projects too.
And lastly, before you leave, let's talk about the place here. Before this place was raised to this level or given a facelift, it was totally destroyed. It was blown out of proportion. There were a big of holes and everything here. Let's talk about the structural integrity of the place. Can you say that this place has been well built, that we wouldn't worry of any future misfortunes?
In fact, when you look at the design and the structure of the buildings, it is something that is of utmost quality. And the construction, the layout, from the compressed earth bricks that we have used, even from the roads and everything, you realize that this is a project that has been well thought through to ensure that we are able to build the high standard community for the people of Apiati. And government is indeed happy we've been able to do this. We promised to build this. We've done it. Every housing unit you would find here has a separate meter. Every housing unit you see here has 2 polytanks. And of course, the streets are tarred. Asphalted roads are over here. There's a school here from nursery to class 6, which is significant. I saw some air conditioning even fixed behind them. And so we are very happy we've been able to do this. And today, the Vice President, of course, will commission and hand it over to the community. And he will also... Cancelled for the commencement of the phase 3 as well.
All right, thank you very much, Manasseh. That was Manasseh from the Works and Housing Ministry speaking about the project and how the ministry was involved to how they can expand this model and make sure that they reduce the housing deficit in the country. So we are still here at the Apiati Commission, the Commission of the Reconstructed Community, which is made up of some 120 apartments for the displaced community members. We are still awaiting the arrival of the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, and
You're watching ABC News Ghana. We have on the line Dennis Miracles Abuache, the Communications Director for the NPP. Hello Dennis, welcome to ABC News Ghana.
Hi, good morning.
How has the tour so far been, and what has the level of reception from the interested parties and group been like?
Well, it's the euphoria, the energy. It's been quite amazing, and you can understand when I'm greeting good morning in the evening, it tells you that I've basically lost track of time because of all the energy that we are experiencing on the road since the Vice President started the tour from the eastern region. It's been one that it's been quite interactive, it's been quite conversational, and of course you realize that the Vice President has been a bit more innovative and unconventional with the campaign he's undertaking, where he is engaging people at their doorsteps, at their homes, in their shops and offices, rather than what we're usually accustomed to. And I think that's been an amazing experience so far, for both the Vice President himself and the people. We had a very, very, very successful engagement in the Eastern region, where the Vice President engaged the clergy. He also engaged the Regional House of Chiefs, and then he engaged the youth in the region, where predominantly he had artisans, dressmakers, hairdressers, barbers, mechanics, caterers in the room, and then he shared with them his bold solutions for the future of Ghana moving forward, and what he plans for that category of people in his next government as president. So it's been quite an engaging period. Yesterday, the Vice President entered Western region, where he engaged the people of Esikado Katen, especially on the streets and in their homes, physically sharing with them what he envisions for the future of Ghana going into 2025. And since morning today, he's had a chance to engage the clergy. He met the fisher folks at the European town where he shared his plan and outlined his vision for the
okay, so
the technology that will benefit.
There was a really pleasant moment, and that we said goodbye to each other nicely without knowing that we.
Okay, Dennis. So I want to find out what do you think? What actually motivated the decision to engage in a door-to-door campaign tour instead of the usual way? We'll come back to Dennis. We still have him on the line. Don't forget, we actually just came from Apiate, where the commissioning of the reconstructed town has actually 124 housing units, beautifully done by the government. We'll still come back to Dennis. You're still watching ABC News Ghana. Do stay with us. Miracles Abaji on the line, the Director for Communications for the NPP. Dennis, I wanted to find out what motivated the decision for the door-to-door campaign.
Well, the motivation is simple. The Ghanaian people have the right to make very informed decisions. And if you are going to make a choice between the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the former president, then it's important that, to be fair to them, they get to have basis and reasons why it should be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And so the idea of doing a door-to-door, shop-to-shop, office-to-office is to make sure that the message gets to the people, and they even get a chance to ask very pertinent questions of the Vice President. He also gets the chance to respond, so that if the voter gets to the ballot box and is casting his vote, he has a very, very convinced reasons why he is voting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or otherwise. So critically, that I would say is the main reason why Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia decided to adopt this strategy in campaigning. And so far, I think the reception has been great. It's been very well embraced by the people, and I think that is what is critical and important now.
Okay, so you actually mentioned earlier that he's been to the eastern region and you guys hit the western region. Now, looking at these two places and looking at the reason, the door-to-door campaign, how do you think this is going to affect the outcome of the polls come December 7th?
Well, I mean, ours is to continue to strive and strive and win the next elections. And so we're going to do everything we need to do without relaxing, and simply ensure that we are getting our message directly to the people, and we are convincing them that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the right person to lead this country moving forward. Ultimately, we'll do what we have to do to ensure that this is converted into votes at the polls come 7 December. But we just started. This is just day 3 or 4 of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia officially stepping out to campaign, and we'll only continue to improve to make sure that ultimately the Ghanaian people are convinced that voting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the right thing to do, and we actually believe that it is the right thing to do and the right thing for Mother Ghana going forward.
Well, the Vice President made mention saying the small-scale mining sector, but already the Small-Scale Mining Act 1989 provides a blueprint for the formalization of it. So was that particular message tailored to the concerns of the Western region, or is it part of his general vision that the Vice President has?
I mean, generally, you'd agree that the Vice President has had this idea of formalizing our economy, which he believes that would be quite crucial towards the kind of economy we want to have as a people. And so the objective is to look at each of the sectors and ensure that we formalize them as much as we can. I mean, formalizing a sector basically means that whatever activities that happen within that sector is in compliance with all the other statutory things that the state expects of them. And at least it would also help the state to be able to identify who is doing what and what they are doing at every point in time. So it is very important and crucial, that aspect of the conversation, that we are able to formalize this sector and ensure that government can properly regulate it and provide the needed support also to industry or sector players.
Okay, so I mean, it means it's not just a small-scale mining sector you're looking to formalize.
No, I mean, if you follow Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he's made that case severally. So the small-scale mining sector is also part, but generally, his objective is to ensure that we have a very formalized economy, and that would involve ensuring that each sector is properly formalized and moved onto the state account at any point in time. So yes, he's doing it for the hairdressers, he's doing this for the dressmakers, he's doing it for the mining people, he's doing it for the carpenters and masons. That remains the overarching objective.
Okay, he made mention of the tax system, where he wants to give a 10% a flat tax system, and he's actually going to grant a tax amnesty come 2025. Now, how much do you think this particular statement is going to have on the campaign tool?
Well, the mining sector, or the small-scale mining sector players, have had their own concerns with respect to the tax regime and the tax policies that are at play within the sector. So that's the first point is that we need to note. Secondly, we also need to note that once you intend to restructure the tax regime and reorganize that space, it is important that you put in place a mechanism that would ensure that all other players will find it attractive to get on board. So if you are introducing a flat tax regime, which the Vice President clearly is convinced about, because he believes that it removes a lot of discretion from the tax enforcers, and also ensures that businesses are able to plan, knowing clearly from the get-go what their tax obligations would be. Once you do that, it becomes a bit more attractive for businesses and industry players to be more tax compliant. Now, I am interested, I want to be tax compliant, but I have a lot of arrears from the past, tax obligations from the past that I haven't been able to fulfill, which I would have loved to step forward and be part of this current regime. But I'm worried that if I do, my previous arrears will come staring at me and I'll not be able to handle it. So I continue to hide and I continue to evade the taxes. So what a tax amnesty now will do is to kick in this process that says that, well, we want you to come on board, we want you to be compliant to the current regime. Don't worry about all the obligations you were supposed to do in the past which you couldn't. Let's start afresh. All your taxes from the past are forgiven. Now shall we begin from a new or a fresh page? A lot more people are likely to enroll on this. A lot more people are likely to be tax compliant. A lot more transparency in there, and we are likely to increase our revenue from that space, whilst at the same time creating that space for businesses to be able to expand and grow.
Okay. Now, final question before I let you go. He mentioned that he's going to let the private sector actually be responsible for infrastructure, and that the government is actually going to lease or rent the structure from the private sector. For those who have concerns about this, most people are thinking, okay, how is this going to save government money, or how is this going to help improve the economy? Can you shed more light on this?
So first of all, easily, it gives government that fiscal space, that room for government to utilize some monies that they readily have available now on other sectors without necessarily having to commit that money to these kind of infrastructure. So that's the first point. The second point is that it takes government too long a time to put together these critical infrastructure for use for the people, because government doesn't or never has all the money readily available. So I'll give you a quick example. A school that used to enroll about 800 students now has 950 students. Obviously, there's an additional 150 students who would require classrooms, will require dormitory blocks, and what have you. Now, government says, I want to provide the infrastructure. So government awards a contract trying to build these classroom blocks or dormitory blocks all by itself. But because government doesn't have the money readily available, the classroom block that is going to cost about 2 million Ghana cedis, and it's supposed to be completed or can be completed in under 6 months, could take 2 years or 4 years. Why? Because government has to pay bits and bits. And so because government doesn't have the money readily available, it takes a very long time for government to be able to provide this infrastructure for the people. And so the people never get to use it. The second challenge is that the longer it takes for government to be able to complete this infrastructure, the more expensive it even becomes. So a project that starts at 2 million, by the time it's completed, it's now costing 4 or 5 million, because every time there are price variations and cost variations, and contractors will have to definitely make room for those adjustments and those inflations. So what the private sector participation or the private sector partnership in providing infrastructure will do is that you go to a community, there's a need for a road, government readily doesn't have the money to construct the road, the private sector person constructs the road, and you toll it. And then government backs it up or supports it with some additional payments. A school needs a classroom block. Government doesn't readily have the classroom block. If it decides to go into it, one, it will be very expensive because they can't complete on time, and two, because you're not completing on time, it takes too much of a period for you to complete and for the use of the people. A private sector can come in, put up all the infrastructure, the classroom block, everything in 6 months. Then government would lease, or to be leased to government to pay bits and bits and bits and bits over a period, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then it reverts to government as its own property. So two things here. You get infrastructure readily available for use and on time by the citizens, and two, it becomes cheaper, which you pay over a longer period of time.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Dennis Miracles Abuache. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the voice of Dennis Miracles Abuache, the Communications Director for the MPP. You're still watching ABC News Ghana. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
In January 2022, tragedy struck the heart of Apiatse, a vibrant community in the western region of Ghana. A devastating fire explosion wreaked havoc, claiming lives, injuring many, and leaving the entire community homeless.
led to a huge explosion which claimed 13 lives in southern Ghana.
Dozens of homes were destroyed in this village near the town of Bogoso.
When the explosion occurred in Pristia Hune Valley. So initially I didn't know where to send them to. So I quickly made an arrangement with the bishop, Catholic bishop at Bogoso. They have a big hall, and then he accepted to accommodate all of them. Here we are talking about 1,050 people.
Some men from the assembly came. They told me, Father, we have no other place but your place, because we have a very vast parish hall that can contain about 200 to 250 people at a time. And quickly, what Christ tells us in Matthew chapter 25 comes to mind. The corporal works of mercy. You provide shelter for the homeless. You provide clothes for the naked, food for the hungry, and you visit the sick, the imprisoned. So we came in, those that I had around, we came in, and then quickly we started putting the place in order.
Responding swiftly to the crisis, His Excellency Vice President Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia, on behalf of President Akufo-Addo, led a high-level government delegation to Apiatse.
For the houses that have been destroyed, we are already beginning to think about how to rehabilitate and rebuild for the community here. So I want to assure Nananum
2 years of relentless construction, determination, and unity have transformed Apiatse.
Very tragic incident which happened in Apieti when there was an explosion in the community which literally wiped the whole community out. The situation then called for immediate, swift action. The president at the time dispatched the vice president, Dr. Bawumia, to visit the site and the scene and to ascertain for himself what was the state of affairs at that place. The government then had to move in very quickly to put in relief measures to bring some temporary relief to the residents of Apieti. I think by and large, the first phase of it was contained, and then we then had to come in, as in the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the permanent resettlement of the people of Apieti. And on this occasion, let me commend and applaud highly Dr. Joyce Ayi, a senior stateswoman, who dedicated so much time and effort in helping the ministry to raise the necessary funding to rebuild this community. And through Dr. Joyce Ayi, we were able to raise the needed funds to be able to rebuild the Apieti community.
We, the members of the committee, decided not to take any allowance at all, but rather we would also directly contribute to the fund. So far, so good. We are grateful for the privilege of being asked to raise the funds and to disburse the funds. There's still a lot of work to do. By the grace of God, so far we've been able to release funds as the need has arisen.
I then constituted a redevelopment committee chaired by Honorable Benito Usubio with very high-ranking professionals in our country as members, and they went to work.
We started by engaging the services of a consultant through procurement processes, and after which we also engaged services of construction companies. Bearing in mind the President's charge to us that it must be a model town and that it should conform to all the environmental and green concept.
I served on the Apiasi Reconstruction Implementation Committee, to give architectural support. We were very interested in several things that would constitute part of the green technology, especially the microclimatic concerns. We were looking at the materials that would be used in construction, the design of the building, what methods you could use to harvest rainwater, such that no matter which way it faced, by using indentations in the building and wide overhangs, you'll be able to cut down on the solar gain, which has an indirect impact on the energy of the buildings.
Dedi kan yebeda abana se project kesi or the my local contractors no say yenye. And that the my see in 924. 1 bedroom, 2 room, 3 room, 4 room, 5 room, 7 room. And then be I see a power tank you know and I see emu. And then be so.
Okay, you're watching ABC News Ghana. Now let's take to social media to see what people are saying. So on X, Richard James Fee says, the people know what the NPP government continues to do for them, albeit world economic downturn. The future with Bawumia looks so bright and promising. Bawumia Tuaso, hashtag Bawumia Tours, hashtag bold solutions for our future. Now, Nana Kwame says, aside playing his roles defined by the Constitution, Dr. Bawumia has been perhaps the most active and purposeful vice president to have graced the political scene. He is not only ushering Ghana into the digital world, he is doing so in leaps and bounds. Abdul Rauf Ibrahim says, and he was mobbed at Iskadu Kentan in the Western region. Dr. Bawumia is loved. President Akufo-Addo would hand over to his able assistants. We can't afford to gamble our future again with the Dumso Hene John Mahama. Hashtag it is possible. Hashtag Bawumia 2024. Hashtag Bawumia Tours. And Will says Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is a man who represents unselfish leadership and dedication to the welfare of the country. He is a man of the people, by the people, and for the people. Bold solutions for our future are possible. Hashtag Bawumia 2024. Hashtag in Bawumia we trust. Hashtag it is possible. So these are just a few of the throng of messages people are sharing on social media. This tells you they are really in tandem with the message Bawumia is sharing across. You're still watching ABC News Ghana. We'll be taking you straight to the field where my colleague Abna is ready to talk to us from Takoradi. Hello Abna, can you hear us?
Hello Epiphania.
How are you doing? How is Takoradi?
Well, we are coming to you live from Takwa. Epiphania, I'm fine, thank you. We are not in Takoradi at the moment. We are in Takwa, where the Vice President, the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, will be speaking and addressing a few groups, most of them who are youth, at the Goldfields Clubhouse. So yes, we are in Takwa, and it's a very interesting atmosphere here. The atmosphere is frenzied. Everybody seems to be in very cheerful and bubbly mood. So yes, this is what is happening here at Takwa at the moment, Epiphania.
How's the situation, the security situation, like ahead of his arrival?
Oh, it's great. It's a good situation here. Everything is under control. There are personnel from the security forces here, so everything is fine and under control. Ahead of me, I see quite a number of police men and women, and they've been here for quite a while now.
I can hear quite the jubilation. I can hear quite the jubilation in the background.
Yes.
People are so excited.
A lot of people are in anticipation. They are anticipating the arrival of the Vice President. So yes, the anticipation is high.
Okay.
Then there's brass band here. The DJ is playing some good music. So it's an altogether very interesting atmosphere.
Okay, but have you had the opportunity to talk to any of the people?
Not yet. We'll be speaking to some of them very soon, but not yet.
Okay. So we'll come back to you when the Vice President comes. Please, you're still watching ABC News Ghana. Let's go take another interview we had earlier today, where we spoke to Honorable Fatimatu Abubakar, who is the Minister for Information Designate.
It is still the live coverage of the commissioning of the reconstructed Apiate community here in the Pristia Huni Valley municipality of the Western region, as we await the arrival of the Vice President and the Lands Minister to officially commission and hand over these facilities to the community members. We will be engaging with key stakeholders and government officials that come here. So right here I have with me the Information Minister Designate, Fati Abubakar. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you, and good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. So in terms of this project, the government started it somewhere around 2022. Finally, it has been finished and is awaiting commissioning and handing over. From your end, how is the feeling? How is the feeling?
Okay, first of all, let me say good afternoon to your cherished viewers on ABC News GH. I believe, just as you mentioned, on 20th January 2022, there was this explosion right at this site, at the center of Apiate community in Pristia Huni Valley constituency. The President of the Republic quickly dispatched the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to come and ascertain the extent of destruction and the tragedy and see how best we can restore the community and restore livelihoods. Unfortunately, during the explosion, we lost 16 people, and may their souls rest in perfect peace. But after the Vice President visited the sites in January, the President constituted 3 key committees on somewhere 3rd March, barely about 2 weeks after the incidents, to look at the health and safety bit, to look at establishing a support fund, and also reconstruction of the Apiate community. So proper construction work started in September, because just as you are aware, in January of 2022, they relocated the community to some makeshift tents whilst they were trying to do the horizontal development and raise this place. But unfortunately, it was also during the rainy season. So the tents were also destroyed, and they had to finish some uncompleted properties that belonged to a mining community, about 37 buildings, so that they could take the affected inhabitants to the place and then start building this place from scratch. So for the past 2 years, they've been there at the other site in the neighboring community, and government has committed consistently since September of 2022 to rebuild the community. They will tell you 124 houses are ready. 124 houses because the initial assessment showed that they needed 124 houses, and they planned it to fit the land scale that was available at the time. But as you are aware, the community did not have roads, it did not have like proper planning as we see today. So when they did the demarcation, they could only fit the 124 and nothing more. Meaning if there was a need for any additional construction, they had to engage the traditional authority here and look for another location so that they will be able to build the additional houses. By the grace of God, the first 124 is ready. This is the phase 2 actually, because the phase 1 comprised of some 50 houses in the fringes or periphery that were not so damaged, but they brought technocrats to come and value and give them compensation to renovate. So that was completely done with compensation paid. And now the construction of the 124 is completed with amenities such as water, electricity, town roads, a school, because there was no basic school here. But now they've built a KG and primary school here. And hoping to add even a clinic and other ancillary facilities to improve the quality of life here and support livelihoods. Because they had to make way for the construction of roads, schools and all that, there were some other buildings that were not affected at all. But they negotiated with the owners to raise them down so that the planning, the spatial and planning activities will be properly done. Okay. So it is estimated by the chair of the Reconstruction Committee, Honorable Benito Usubio, that after the commissioning and distribution of the 124, which is already completed, they are going to build another 70 at a land that the chiefs have allocated for those they had to move to make way for road construction and other activities. But all of them have been, there's an inventory of all beneficiaries through the district assembly, state housing, and also other partners who are helping to make sure this is one of the nicest model communities for rural development.
Okay, I must admit that the place looks nice. I hadn't been here before, so when it was destroyed, I only saw the rubble. I didn't know how the community looked like before the disaster, but I must admit that this new face is very nice and very appealing. But how much went into this whole project, the phase 1 and the phase 2? How much has government spent on this project?
First of all, you know, according to the Mining Act, if there is negligence on the part of any company which leads to damage or explosion, the Minerals Commission is supposed to fine the company.
Wazam was fined.
So there was a fine of $6 million on the company through who this tragedy happened. But the fine is not a said that government could have sent it anywhere. But the President of the Republic, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said that the fine should be used as a seed capital to rebuilding the community back. So he set up a support fund chaired by Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye, former Minister for Information and former Minister for Education, together with a committee of some respected and revered Ghanaians to look at how they were going to raise funds in this regard. Those fundraising efforts were towards the reconstruction of the housing units. But as you can see, through government agencies and ministries, the Ministry of Roads has done all the drainage and the bitumen surfacing. The Ministry of Energy and the electricity companies have done the rewiring and providing electricity to the community. The Community and Sanitation Water Community Water and Sanitation Agency has also built a small town community water project and connected all the households to pipe-on water. Said that if you enter any of them and open the shower or the sink, you have water. Get Fund through Ministry of Education is the one that built the KG and the primary school. And they are using the efforts of various ministries and agencies and the government to bring state-of-the-art facilities here so that this will be a standard community just like living in any of the cities in the country.
So can you speak about the total amount that went to the project?
I'm saying that the housing
itself.
The housing, it is estimated that this phase costed 49 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
But just as I said, there was
the road construction.
Not even that. I told you that because the tents were destroyed by the rains, they had to go and roof some 37 buildings and relocate the entire community to that place.
Okay.
And then 50 houses that were not so damaged, they had to pay compensation. And as I speak to you, after His Excellency the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia commissions the 124, he will also cast sword for the third phase, which is estimated to have about 70 housing units. So that is why the Reconstruction Committee has urged us that we should let this phase complete and give a time frame, because since they still have construction work to do, they are still mobilizing, and we shouldn't create the impression as if all the work is done, so that they will make sure every single household, every single family that was affected receives desirable relief and is able to reintegrate into this new community.
Finally, before I let you go, some have said that, some people have said that the commissioning and the whole event to commission these housing units is not necessary, and especially they say that the government is trying to take praises for something corporate Ghana did through the fund support that the president set up. The corporate Ghana contributed, about 70 individuals and corporate institutions contributed to raise money to build this facility, but the government is taking praises for it.
Corporate Ghana built the road. Corporate Ghana brought the water. Corporate Ghana brought the schools. It doesn't even make sense based on the explanation that I've given. Even with the construction of the housing units, this is not the first time there has been a disaster in Ghana. We saw the Circle disaster, fire and flooding, losing 150 precious lives. Go and ask the victims and survivors about compensation. Go and ask the victims and survivors about rehabilitation. If you go to Circle today, walk past the commercial bank on your way to Adabraka, you will still see the rubbles. You will still see housing that were raised down and nothing was done about it. In 2012, there was a disaster at Melcom Achimota. Under the government, go and ask the victims and other people who were impacted about government interventions. What happened? There were flooding, there were outbreaks in Greater Accra, cholera, leading to the death, the loss of lives of about 203 people. How was it managed? Go to some of the slums, go to the other areas and see what kind of intervention arrangements were done by the government. President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia's government have shown that they lead with compassion, they lead to unify, they lead to solve the problems of every single individual without any political biases or any other considerations. The mere fact that you are Ghanaian, if you are suffering and you require any intervention, the government, just as they've done with a lot of social intervention programs, has taken it upon themselves to make sure they come to your aid. A lot of disasters have happened in the past, and there were almost no...
Okay, let's head straight to Takwa, to my colleague Abna.
Hello, Epiphania.
Hello, Abna. How is the atmosphere?
Well, so we are back in Takwa. You are back with us in Takwa. It's still a very interesting atmosphere. There's a lot of frenzy here and awaiting the Vice President and flag bearer of the MPP. But before he comes, I have with me Wisdom Gomashi, who is the Assistant Constituency Secretary for Takwa in CIM constituency. Wisdom, you are welcome. Wisdom, the flag bearer is coming here to speak with people of your constituency. Your constituency is a very youthful one. It's a very youthful constituency, okay? So what are some of the things you're expected to hear from the Vice President in his speech today?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the Vice President, who is our presidential candidate for the 2024 elections, His Excellency Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia. In fact, his records are there for everyone to see so far as the governance of this country and the future of this country is concerned. In fact, if I wouldn't lie to you, he is one of the most successful Vice Presidents. The Vice President even much is even expected from him. It shows how the future of this country lies in his hands. With his meeting today in Takwa, the Vice President is coming to engage the youth of Takwa, in Swayim, and some specific interest groups, most especially the small scale mining groups. And what they will be expecting to hear is that how would their work move forward? How would their work progress? How would their work progress for them to make something? And the Vice President, who is our candidate, have made profound statements that he is going to ensure that millionaires are made from the small-scale mining sector. Currently in Ghana, most of our mining companies are owned by the foreign entities. We always cry in country here. And he's not just saying that. The Vice President had already outlined certain strategies or certain policies when giving the nod he is going to bring on board. One is he's going to bring on board a minerals development bank, which have been a key issue to the small scale mining, because when they get a concession, where to even get money from to develop a concession becomes a problem. So today, miners here will also want to hear it in their ears, dito, that the Vice President has promised a minerals development bank, just as we have ADB for farmers. And this will become one of the profound steps towards providing finance to small-scale miners, not only in Ghana, not only in Africa, but in the whole world. He is also looking at supporting.
So the Vice President has just arrived. The Vice President has just arrived here in Takwa. He was in Apiate earlier to commission the new community that has been built for the people of Apiate after that devastating incident a few years ago. He has arrived in Takwa. He's come to speak with the youth, amongst which we have some of the small-scale miners and other youth groups. So, Epiphania, the Vice President has arrived and he will be speaking to us very soon. The atmosphere here is an interesting one, it's a frenzied one, and I can tell that most of the people of Takwa and Swayim are excited to receive the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. Thank you, Fania. Let's go straight to taking the Vice President. Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Are you coming back to me? Yeah, so the program is now about to start. A moment. Please, can we go?
I'm going to watch you do though. You can bang on. Are you okay? No, it's not. Are you okay? What's that question? It's English. So when they come to you, you're going to give a background and also state that the guy is jealous. Allow him to. How many minutes?
Well, so you're welcome back to Takwa NCIM, where the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, has arrived to meet and engage with the youth, preferably some of the small-scale miners, nurses, students. Many youth are here, and the atmosphere is charged, is frenzied, and they are all expecting to hear something which will make them excited about the visit of Alhaji Bawumia here. But before we go in, I have with me Mr. Augustine Blay, who is the Director for Digital Campaign and Executive Secretary to the Vice President. You're welcome.
Thank you.
The Vice President has arrived, and amongst all of everything, you see that there's a lot of excitement here. As Director for Digital Stuff, you know how much the youth is into digital stuff, and what should we expect today? Beyond whatever we are expecting to expect, what should we expect today?
Expect what we expect beyond what we expect to expect.
All right.
What we need to understand is that
we are in the 21st century. We need a 21st century candidate to create 21st century jobs. If the candidates that want to be president of Ghana do not understand the nature of the economy or digital economy in this 21st century,
there is no way the person can lead us. And Dr. Bawumia understands the 21st century economy. He understands the 21st century
technology. So he has laid a foundation upon which the youth can then strive and make an impact in the world.
Dr. Bawumia understands the 21st century and understands the youth. a lot of people have said that the small-scale miners are suffering in some ways, so much so that they are not getting what is due them. They are not reaching their potential. Today, as the Vice President is going to meet them, what are some of the things that we expect to hear from him that should cause the small-scale miners to understand that there is hope for them, there is hope for their business, and there's hope for the ventures that they have ventured into?
Thank you very much. So the small-scale miners have to understand that, when we started Galamsey long time ago, there were not many of them involved in it. So it was easy to have a central administration administering how many people are doing Galamsey and stuff like that. But now, as you get into this 2024, the Vice President understands that we have to decentralize the issuance of licenses. Are we live?
Yes, we are. Well, this is what happens when we are on a live event. No problem. No problem. Let's continue.
It's all fun. It's all fun. So the Vice President understands that now, because of the increase in the population and many more youth involved in the small-scale mining, the first thing we need to do is to decentralize the issuance of licenses. So then it's easier to get the licenses locally at the district level. You don't have to go all the way to Accra to get that license. That's savings in terms of travel time, money, and then the speed at which you get the licenses will help the youth at that point. Now, the Vice President also understands the concept of using gold, showing up our reserve with gold, using gold as a trading currency, like gold for oil, gold for any other key need of the country. So then he is creating the value chain where almost every gold mined by the youth legally, well licensed, will go through the pipeline, and so them knowing that we will have the market ready for them, so that will help them grow. Of course, you need to also have a regulation to check the environment and make sure the environment is left intact in spite of the mining, because we made the earth, we made the waters, we made the land, we made the trees. We have to pass them on to our children and the next generation. So you must mine it responsibly, make the money, create new jobs, and at the same time pass on a good health, healthy earth to our next generation. Thank you.
Okay, so beyond this too, there's a problem that the Galamseyers, those who involve themselves in Galamsey, are taking the work that the legitimate miners are doing. What are some of the measures we are going to put in place for small-scale miners to know that the work they are doing, the venture they have ventured into, is safe? That space is safe for them.
There should not be any fear, because it's business, right? If you go to the hotel, they have big hotels, small hotels. You go to restaurants, you have big restaurants, small restaurants. Any business that you can imagine, you have the big ones and small ones. That's why we call them small-scale mining. So long as the person has a license to mine, then there should not be any fear, because the license has been given to the person to mine at a particular location. The person is not taking away the job from the big miners. The big miners should not feel threatened, because the young ones also need to create jobs and excel in their businesses. So the fear is not right. We should allow the young ones who have the vision to build mining companies. There's a lot of blessings starting small. These small miners can begin small, but eventually become big miners as well. So I don't see any fear. As long as it's properly regulated, they get their license, they get their location, they mine responsibly, and then may God bless them mightily.
Okay, mine responsibly. I'll come back again to the issue of Galamsey. Galamsey is a threat to the nation. Galamsey is threatening our livelihood as a people, because our water bodies, illegal mining, yes. Well, our water bodies, our forests are all under attack because of illegal mining. So now that we are putting an effort into small-scale miners, what are the efforts? How are we going to improve efforts against illegal mining?
I think we're providing visibility. You see, what happens is that if you don't make it easy for the person needing the license to mine, the person will mine illegally. If you don't help provide the resources they need to mine responsibly, the person will mine irresponsibly. So it's now, as a country, as the Vice President put an accent on it, focusing on it. Let's now turn our attention not just mining, but mining responsibly. Along that comes a certain education community engagement, providing resources to help them mine responsibly. You know, so if you don't have visibility into it, if you don't have the community engaged, if you don't have the education of the miners available to them, if you don't have the license ready, it's always about regulation. Every time you make regulation difficult, if I have seen that there's availability of gold in a certain area and I need a license, and it takes you 3 years to give me the license, I'm not going to wait, and many people will not wait. They just jump in it and start mining. But when they are mining there, they are not licensed, so they are automatically legal. And then you will not have, government will not have visibility into his mining. We don't know what area he is mining. There's no way you can check him or monitor his, and he can do whatever he wants. But when you make it easy, reduce the distance between the miners and government, that would then make it easy to monitor and check whether the miners are mined responsibly. Now, creating the market for the gold that the miners have mined also introduces a certain check, because when government is buying the gold directly from these miners to shore up our reserve, we are looking at where did you mine. You can trace the gold. The gold came from here all the way to the vault, so that the person mining the gold must understand that if he does not mine properly, he runs the risk of his gold not being purchased. So that will in itself create an incentive for people to begin to mine responsibly.
So creating visibility. Thank you so much, Augustine Blay. Thank you for speaking with us. So we have it here. We are expecting to hear the Vice President speak on mining and touch on various sectors of the economy. We'll be going straight to take the Vice President. So Epiphania, this is what you should expect from Tarkwa in CIM this evening.
Thank you very much. Bombie so
Okay, so I have Kojo Safo here with me. He is the media and PR manager for Tarkwa Community Mining. Kojo, thank you for speaking with us. Tonight, the Vice President and the presidential candidate for the MPP is meeting with your group. What are you expecting to hear from him?
Yeah, honestly, we really appreciate the effort made to visit us as is required. We've heard a lot from him on most of his campaign tours about his policies with regards to our sector, especially the small-scale mining, and we really admired all those policies that he enrolled, especially when we come to putting in money, investment into the small-scale mining. And most of the times, one of the major reasons that most of the local men give it to the Chinese or the foreigners is because of investment. They don't have the capital. But the Vice President and the NPP presidential candidate has stated vehemently that when he comes, he and his government is going to help the sector by talking to most of the banks to release some funds to the small-scale mining sector for us to invest in the sector, so as to purchase some of the logistics that will be needed in rebranding our sector.
Rebranding your sector. He's also mentioned that there's going to be a bank, sort of like how we have the ADB. You're going to also have a bank that will support you. How do you welcome this?
Yeah, it's a nice idea. It's a nice idea. As I earlier stated, is one of the major problems that is dwindling the progress of our sector. So if you are getting someone to come on board to at least talk to the various banks as a guarantee for us to also get some funds to also buy the logistics that will help us progress the sector, then it means that at least we can rest assured that the sector is going to progress.
You can rest assured that the sector is going to progress. Well, we'll allow you to go in and listen to the vice president and presidential candidates. And after the talk, we hope to speak with you again to know what you think and how much you are accepting what he has to tell you. Thank you, Kojo. Well, so that is Kojo Safo. He is the media and PR manager for the Takwa Community Mining here in Takwa. The vice president and presidential candidate for the MPP will be speaking soon, and he has a lot for them. Yes, so we'll be going inside very soon to hear what he has. But like I said earlier, it's a charged atmosphere here. It's a frenzied atmosphere, and there's a lot of excitement here. So we will be back. My name is Abena Manti.
It's a movement. It's a movement. Choboy, Moana, Agrono Eyedeba, the member of parliament for Takwa, he is the deputy minister for lands and forests, natural resource, Honorable Mreku Tuka. Honorable George Mekuduka, thank you very much. Takwa, thank you. Takwa, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, so. Hello. Pacho Mebruana. Ya yi nipa bebre mpanyifo na edi. Na ne aka ya babe yi na kire mu. Hello Muana. Baby Ghana edunu ye pese ye koye nim. Hello ye wo papa bia owo abadare ye wo papa bia owo timba ye wo papa bia odwin nipa hu ye wo papa bia Ghana dana kumaso the golden boy the best vice president the incoming president his excellency Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. Choboy.
What Mr. President uses eminent place. Those are the words of President forever. Eminent pledges, Mr. Vice President. Remember, yes, you are here. Yes, we are very grateful for this audience. And just as my brother said, yes, we are in campaign mood, campaign time. Very respectfully, we may not be here to say that our review started in the Bible. In Exodus 18, when Moses started dealing with the people, he will sit down, he will talk to them one by one. Then his father-in-law visits, he said, you will wear out. So Jethro told him, so he said, no, find capable people who fear God. And
I've been through a lot, but grace sustained me. My chest is now a testimony. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. It was you, my lawyer in that courtroom. It was you, my soldier on that battlefield. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Hey, Lord, the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Lord, the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Who has changed my story? Who has given me a song? Turn my word into dancing. It is you and just your grace. You have changed my story.
Epe papa. Epe papa. Epe papa. Pocho wa mayedi. Pocho mayedi. Na ene yenya ho kese. Oye Yura.
So I have with me here Al Hassan Tofik, who is the administrator for community mining underground operations here in Takwa in CIM. Al Hassan, you're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
Well, what has been the benefit of community mining to you and your people here in Takwa and CIM?
Thanks for this opportunity given. Well, to talk about the benefits of this community mining in Takwa here, I think previously, this Galamsey activities was, too much in the region. And I think most of the youth were involved in it. And it's like we were losing a whole lot of lives. But since the government brought in this community mining scheme, it has helped to transform all the illegal mining to small-scale legal mining sectors, whereby the youth, we are benefiting from. I personally am a graduate from the Polytechnic since 2016. And I've been working with this community mining for more than 2 years now. And I think it has transformed my life into a better person as I said right now. Both myself, my family, my loved ones, and even outsiders whom I don't know. And I think it has helped.
Seeing the Vice President do a lot more for you. You are looking forward to seeing the Vice President do a lot more for you and your people in this community mining. What are some of the initiatives or some of the things that you will pinpoint and say that if the government does for you, it will improve your life?
Well, I think basically, Takwa here precisely, we have a whole lot of abandoned shafts that I think, the foreigners mined and then they abandon them here. So we are praying that the government should try to open all those mining shafts to improve upon the community mining activities in Takwa here and, Ghana as a whole. When you go to the northern sector, I'm a northerner, there are so many, mining concessions over there. And I think if the government comes in to legalize all those places, it's going to help the country at large. Because right now, as we speak, majority of the youth are involved in today's small-scale mining activities. So it's better we try to shape it in a good way, whereby the illegality of it will be eliminated.
the illegality will be eliminated. He's going to speak to you today, and you are here because you want to hear him. Given the opportunity to ask a question or to give him some suggestions, what are the things you will tell the Vice President and presidential candidate for the MPP?
Well, I'm happy to know the Vice President and the incoming president, as we all know, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to be a Northerner, just like I'm equally a Northerner. So all what I have to say is we are praying that God or Allah should make him become the president for us. And he shouldn't disappoint with the Northerners, because should he disappoint us, it will be difficult for any Northerner to come in as a president of Ghana again. Because people are thinking that maybe the Northerners are equally good in ruling the country. So we are all putting our hope on him. So he shouldn't fail us as Northerners.
Thank you. Data for community mining here in Takwa in Suayem. So Epiphania, that is it. It's still a very frenzied atmosphere, an exciting and charged atmosphere here in Takwa in Suayem.
Ghana ha ende nyumbri onyanebo sum no ache na kuma moda na kuma do mo podo ye magana na mnyimde oye nyankopon ne pa. God will be his lawyer on the 7th of December. Inshallah, he will be the next president of the Republic of Ghana. Toboyi. Mameka chewana yinde. Papei minyinesan na owahobrase. Okasa nyansa wom na owakumapa. No awabadai na Ghana da na kumado wama yenta nechi yambo ni chidom ni yempaja no osanda Ghana yanda achi ojinanodo na mnyimde nyaminti Ghana will be a better place. Let us all rally behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Toboyi.
Choboy. And Nitia, a word them hide here. Not just say, I feel way, Bibi Bessie. Hello, Choboy. Baby, I do know. Ye befre, the national youth organizer of our party. Now, waba, now, one ya bekasa. Sibabako, or yeah, now we're introducing the incoming himself.
The roadmaster. The roadmaster. There's a movement.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a movement.
Kimpaluta senge. Kimpaluta, yeah. Ouch. Yeah. Me didn't get a bayasido. Nanka me dekeka. You call me, I'm coming. Fresh and kwana me daminda. Me didn't get a bayasido. They spit on my face. They block our.
Well, so we are live in Takwa in Suayem in the Goldfields mining community, where the Vice President and flag bearer for the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will be engaging the youth, especially small-scale miners here. It's a frenzied atmosphere, it's a charged atmosphere, it's a very exciting atmosphere here. I've spoken to quite a number of the miners, and they are so much in anticipation of what the Vice President has for them, especially on community mining. We'll be speaking to more of them to hear their thoughts, their suggestions to the Vice President and presidential candidates of the NPP.
Thank you, DJ. That's it. Joey. Choboy, 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 Choboy. Your Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, I will proceed to stand on all existing protocols. Takwa Nswayem, muye fantastic. Ahonkeka energy amehu wa ha ashem nkran. Samusi mindahama mo medahama mo. We ena yedi breaking 8. Inshallah December Honorable Duka Mreku Bedi Abanubium Choboy na nini penini His Excellency the Vice President, the flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia as President of the Republic of Ghana. Choboy, eyamuda muyedede, eyamuda muyedede, eyamuda muyedede, 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 muyedede. Madam Ase, Minianum ayeshawa ha, enyumbewe, mejuma eyetiawa, mi babe yi ni patichu bi, achiramu nyina, na sandi pay, mi pese, mi yini wia, na makaino, munkaino, mpaebom, munkaino, or campaign, munkaino, eo bibiemu, every say, edikanfo we ono ena odieko Canaan na yedu Canaan honey and milk ewo Canaan. Choboy, the next person to lead this country to the next level. Amenewo bebunu ayewo mainwe mo yesu obia odwen ye ho oba amagana ko ineni mako ayeye. Nti se miyina muntie no asipom ansana mede na di menuanom yekoto aba yembisa ye ho se nipa kro mi koto aba amano no ne su ene ne ban etisen se yetu abama na obewia usika na se wudi Ghana ehya ne nsa obeye ni ye ana yempe president yetu abamana oba ne die no eni ketahye eni proye obia obesai Ghana sika eni Ghana menyina yepe man penyini a odwen nipa ho a owo abadaye a oye nipa odwen nipa ho a owo ahombrasie ensa nipa no me china hey metimi de minsa ahyejemu amano debi enya minsa keke ena metimi di ahye ejama manu mia mikasa metimi ewure jem no mu edi amano. Choboy, mini na yejuma inti minim no mi hwene ni a mitimi kire sei ena okire mini na yejuma inti minim se oyo obi a onja nipa ekire okai nipa owa badaye odonipa owa humbrasie otie oka senchana ofa we na ye de man ehye nsa obebu ni yie minianom bebi a Ghana eduru ye pe mempenyini a odwen Ghana ho a nsensem a ehaye ni nyina onimdie kwan fufuro bi so a odiye befa na ye nyina yanye ahoto na san nipa no ena enche bia me yin emiden na di no abekasa akire ye nyina misremo abatuo ewo nsanso bebre abapa edi aman eko enim saa susu na ababoni ema yeko echire yetu aba ema NDC yehun senyom de eko echire MPP baye yehun nyama njuma bebre a MPP etimi aye mpenyimfo se nia offer eduapa no ono ena ye piano enti papa we offer eduapa enti be den ye be piano papa we odoni panti ye be den ye be piano. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, the good people of Takwa Insuayem have shown massive love for you. By the grace of God, I am sure from today onwards, they will go ahead to campaign for you. Takwa Mai, your guest and the next President of the Republic of Ghana, with a big round of applause. Let's invite His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Mabawudina mafrewo Entini benya kukuogo Enrebe kumana nifa Wudye kuko weni mwara Nesime mpapa Nami kwa wachiridwa
Eyo utapecha unsa
Seri amidi mosa chino
Eyo utapecha unsa Pecha handkerchief Wudye kuko weni mwara Nesime mpapa Nananya kupona chidom Wana bewawo Thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ.
Mumbonse mwaya die Takwa Insuayem mwaya die mumbonse mamoho Nyame nshiramo Regional Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Regional Chairman, MPP, Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and MP for Takwa Insuayem Mreku Duka. Regional Executives, the miners, nursing trainees, the vocational vocations, Nswanu Juma for Jamaa Michia Munyina, Salamu Alaikum. Eyemi enije pam se ene mabatakwa ne timinya sa mri se yem dinkat inkita ho kakra monyina munim se nyame adom me na MPP edi frankano ehye minsa se min koko 2024 election, presidential election. Yeko sa presidential primaries no. Na yeye nipa edu na yeko pre aji frankano. Nipa edu no nipa bebre kase MPP omunfa sa frankano enkoshe Dr. Bawumia nsa Samotiye. Omose Dr. Bawumia ofrisrem oye kramoni MPPM famano enya sano mukaye. Ena me say Nyami epea ebeye, it is possible. It is possible. Nyami adom enti mina mina mebedi nkunim na mebeye frankatuni sesi na me share sie ebo apro because Eastern region maba Western region na ene yabeshia watakwa ha munyina obie inimse na mini politics mo with Free Bank of Ghana na meba politics mo ushe mabakosem kakra metumi akankyere mo se enye bibia na eye easy and then me a vice president but mako efuom akodo by day pen my ye taxi driver pen my ye cleaner pen we nyina metumi begina hayi eye nyame adom eninti medie nyame na edimisi ha na ehiamfo nti na odimisi ha se member boa Ghana mai member boa omahiafo a omo Ghana eninti na meba politics mu uhwe ejuma mabeye wo politics mu a obeni hu se mebi ye ejuma aboa obia say mini asume si na ye kupre se ye koje Ghana mampenyi enyesa asume si de wayem o mampenyi penwo enyesa waye vice president pen waye president super enyesa midie my vice president minyenye president enyesa ono ye president no ankoyi enti yetu no enyesa yetu no osamba ya 2020 yesi ye mpene onko biom na obi a wenti me ye ejuma no ono na yede be hye ne nsa ne breso Nana Akufo-Addo ka say ye be ye free senior secondary education asume sika asen osi enye ye eye 419 enye sa no kai osi anka ono wo sa sika no a 2 billion Ghana cedis aka onfa enye free senior high enye sa no kai yesu ye gitu mu se ye betimi aye omosi ye ntimi ye kaaye no yanye ye juma say free senior high no ya increase numbers no from 800,000 to 1.4 million students na asume su wo hono nursing training allowance wenchemu ochemu no ye kanchiro omuse ye ba power ye de besamba biom yankasa asume sika ase ye ntimi ye embaso enyasa no kan ye na yeso se ebaso ya kan ye no ambaso Ocha teacher training allowance mu yesi yeba teacher training allowance yede baba biom omusi ye ntimi ye kan ye no yanye Arabic instructors allowance ochemu ye ka say yeba yede baba biom yeba ye yafamba yede ba ye enti sa asume siwe na opese osamba bio me mabaya vice president minyan du president. Enyasa. But ushe ejuma mabeye as vice president no. Ube unse sing ejuma asumesi beye as president and vice president. And then America me baye ejuma president chairman sa me say me beye digitalization. Enyasa Ghana card say be issue Ghana card ebwa obia enya identity. Ye ka say be no yanye Ghana card no enempo Ghana ha yewu akwara ene wo hospital udine ko we na ye be ma akwara no Ghana card number any birth certificate number at the same time. Sa na yeye no abrochire sa so na yeye no wa Ghana ha unko brekura se uko apply for Ghana card number ama obano anasa birth certificate number digitalization no ayana mre ama obia enyese unimobi na uko hwehwe ye wie ho ya ma Ghana ha digital address obia fie bia wo digital address enyesa kurasi bia wo digital addresses so enonso abagana ha de toso me the mobile money interoperability ba Ghana ubetimi money sika from mobile MTN akotigo anase uko telecell first no untimi nyenesa Ghana is the and ubetimi money sika from a bank account to a Momo account. And yes, Ghana is the only country in Africa who are ubetimi from your bank account to your Momo account. First, me kasa maybe and almost me entimi ya na say ya and then ye the zip line drones about Ghana drones. Nam the dro the moja the bibia the co hospitals are mayen 6 drone centers across the country every day be an average of 100 flights omo free ho sano mikasa me de bano asome suno omo si saade ye no enye adwuma mikasa ye be no yanye drones yi ye adwuma Ghana say the whole world yani number 1 country in medical drone delivery. The whole world is Ghana. And mikasa nipa brepa se omubetime renew national health insurance. So digitalization no ene ubetime tinafie mobile so now we renew now we enroll in national health insurance. And yes sir ene ubetime ato electricity credit mobile phone so unko brewo ECG office biom enya saa na etie we nyina ebua nipa enya saa enye who you know utina fie na waye untua bribe bia me di 1 constituency 1 ambulance so ba Ghana me di agenda 111 so eba abai mo enya saa ye nya nyina mfaso gold for oil policy Ediaba Ghana. We nyina policies met me abono bako 33 policies as vice president medit me ababua government. Asumesi mibisa na say oye vice president onchirenye adie bako a oyeye. Bako pe o mempe mienu. Misi onchirenye policy bako mimet me achire 30. On Chilean policy bako midi zongo development fund buy almost enyejuma meti me achire 30 policies asume sintimi chire oye vice president 1 policy yesi agrono besoa efri anapa tututu mitimi ye we nyina as vice president then nyamiadum muye me president dia meye na abroso we nyina as vice president muye me president a meye na abroso eninti na me say me be sremu nyina se muhwe ejuma amaye no as vice president e kire se nyamiadum mumma metumi na metumi aboa Ghana fo na yetimi aye na usha die ben na me pese me de ba ebe boa Ghana fo nyame ya adum na mo ye me president ene me pese me bo just a few things because me nim say minus waha minus pese omutie ma adwen enye sa nsanu ejumas fo so ewa so min ma kasa no wa bebre because me pese ye di new policies ba munyina obia apply for passport enyesa passport inshishe foforo eba passport application no ye be sesano passport application ye be sesano diebe ne ye be ye uwo Ghana card and he has apply for a new passport and fill a new form. Fill a new form because data no nyina wo ho Ghana card and one no utua ufi na ya printi o passport amao is simple. Inshisheno a digital. Yeah, but digitizing land registry. So you person to beba on who owns what land. Utina mobile phone so bet me who say sasasi wena okuta sasasi. We are going to digitalize the land registry. So ye de niema bebre eba but na membo mining sector. Mining sector no. Munyina munim say Ghana your minerals bebre gold, diamond, bauxite munyina a dose but ushe your minerals regime no said they manage your minerals no munyina betimi ade adanse say ya Ghana ya nya your minerals no faso enyesa since the 1400s na omodi ye minerals no corner sa Ghana for de ye nyana faso enti na me say ye besesa paradigm no in the area of management of our mineral resources. Ushe Ghana Geological Survey Department omo kanchire and say Ghana ye was 7 gold belts starting from Axim Winneba all the way to Laura Nangodi belts. 7 gold belts, about 43,000 square kilometers is not yet explored. 43,000 square kilometers. Almost say in that 43,000 square kilometers you have about 5 billion ounces of gold. Not yet explored. Eninti media me peseye di inshishe fufuro eba in the mining sector. The key point now ye peseye no ye be empower your geological survey department and your universities like UMAT to do exploration. Ye be ma omo sika geological survey and UMAT and other likely similar universities to get into exploration. We will get into exploration and find out exactly where all these deposits are. Once they find the deposits, there is going to be a new policy. So our policy, no dear, 100% Ghanaian ownership. 100% Ghanaian ownership of our resources. We are not going to give it to the foreigners to take it away, and they will give us royalty. And yes, sir, sana current regime no here. No, we are going to own it 100%. Adentina mekanisa. Once the gold reserves are proven, yebetime nyesika aye exploration. We will allocate them to the small scale miners. We will allocate the concessions. And so, media, my dream is saying, I want to make many small scale miners millionaires and multi-millionaires. Millionaires and multi-millionaires. And they will grow bigger. And they will grow bigger. And we want to support your small scale miners. I don't want us to be chasing them and seizing their equipment. I want us to give them equipment to support them. So be formalizing the small scale mining regime so that they will be licensed and they will operate according to OMO license. Obiabe register with the Small Scale Miners Association with their Ghana card. And then we will make sure, say, Minerals Commission, any EPA, those who will deepen the representation. Where the districts where they are not there, we will make sure we open them there. We will make sure that the district mining committees will be able to grant the temporary licenses to the miners with the chiefs involved. We will make sure, sir, we are going to bring common user facilities for processing of your gold that you have mined, all the tailings that you have. So say, me, the information I may want to say, tailings, you are getting only about 30 to 40% out of it because of lack of technology. And yes, sir. But yet establishing common processing units, MMOA, then you have the technology, you bring the tailings and the ore, and you get up to 90% instead of the 30 or 40% air wall. To support the small scale mining, because muhia equipment. And yes, sir, muhia equipment. But once the gold is there, you know that when you mine, you will get the gold. And yes, sir. So we are going to establish a minerals development bank to support small scale miners and miners in Ghana. So agric development bank for the farmers. We are going to do a minerals development bank for the miners. And we will make sure that miners mine according to their permits, the licenses. You won't go into river bodies to mine. Making sure say nobody does that. We will talk to the big mining companies. Abandoned shafts, we will open them as community mining schemes for our people. The abandoned shafts, we'll open them as community mining schemes. And the new places that we discover, we will open them. We will create jobs for our people. We will make you millionaires. We will make you rich. That is what we are going to do. So, we want 100% ownership, but we are going to support you. Because muye the Ghana na ayeye no. Muye Ghana na ayeye. Because a small mine, some of the small scale miners are meaning sometimes they can make up to 300 million in the mine a year. So we want to support all of you na mo etimi aye juma na mo enye sika na abeboa Ghana, because say no, a lot of the gold that you mine is smuggled out of Ghana. But inshisha yede bano mo new policy no yebeto afrimo with at market prices, so that you will get the money and Ghana will get the gold. Ebeboa empa ye sano ye yenoa obia benya ne ho mfaso. Large scale mining, so ye be abolish exploration VAT levy no large scale mining no, so that we will look at that, so that people can go into exploration. So we will abolish that, and then we will try to make sure say we think about the future. Mining towns, let's think about the future. How can we industrialize these mining towns? How can we make sure say there is a future beyond mining? We don't wait till mining is over before we start thinking about the future. So processing of gold and so on. Uko Dubai, they do a lot of gold processing, but they don't have gold. Yefi hire ko omo gold market koto gold aba. But if we empower our mining towns, they will be processing many things, other factories, so that we become. And then I want the TVET institutions to start teaching courses in responsible mining and mining technology to help the miners. TVET institutions, we are changing the curriculum so that they can do mining, responsible mining. Now you are and make you go there 6 months, you come back and you are an expert in responsible mining. Now and it me abwa obia. And indeed, we have a lot of new policies where the American say once the mining sector is formalized and miners no follow licenses regime no, and they don't mine outside the perimeter yema umwa obia mbesizi u excavator and I say ombeshe u excavator biom, it will not happen. That those will come to an end. We are now going to support you to make money, to help Ghana, to increase production, to create jobs for our people. So it's not going to be an adversarial relationship. It's going to be a symbiotic relationship. We will help you to help us, to help Ghana, and we'll go forward. Enti sana me pese mesusa mining regime no. We want it to benefit Ghanaians, not to benefit foreigners at the expense of Ghanaians. So where we are going, we have enough knowledge. We can own 100% and we can make the money and keep it in Ghana. And that is where we are going. That is where we are going. So, yeba, nyamia adom yeba, we will amend the Mining Act so that all of this will come through very early in 2025. They are tossing me, in Shisha Fufura, Medi Bagana. Ye tax regime. Munyina munim say tax regime ye wono. Munyina businesses are ewo hano. Obianim say utiho GRA beba or say this is your tax. You don't even understand it. And yes, me pese me fa simple tax system eba Ghana. Simple tax system, obia betimi calculating his tax. Say a complicated system. Me the flat tax system eba. Flat tax, 10%, obia nim say 10%. Uti 1,000 and now 100. It's simple. And yes, sir. So 2025 nyame adom na meba power Ghana yebe starting afresh on a clean slate. Obia midi tax amnesty eba Ghana. Tax amnesty. Obia our tax kabia yebe chum na ya starting afresh from everybody. We'll have a tax amnesty for every business, every individual. Now you are starting afresh from zero with a new tax system of a flat tax. So our new tax system, no, it will bring more compliance. It will bring more revenue. It is simple. Na obiaho ebetono. So this is what we are doing. Ushe tax system no so mede bano. The port be changing the tax regime at the port also because eyebia ejuadefo omus nyina nim se mukra niema na duty no ewosoro enyasa eninti enipa bebre omu di containers ba no mu akofa Togo no mu smuggle abagana enyasa. So with the new policy eba sa new policy no ebeka say we are going to align our import duties to the Lomé port. We will not be higher. Ghana will not charge higher than Togo or Lomé. We will be the same or we will be lower. End of story. Ghana will not charge higher than Togo. So, Omo duties, we are in competition with them. Omo duties, we will not go higher than them. We will go lower or the same. Yeyane sanwa obian smuggle niema enko Togo biom enyesa ebia niema nyina abeba through Ghana because if you go to Togo you will pay the same or more enyesa. So we are bringing in a new import duty regime. You wouldn't pay more than you are paying in Togo for your import duty. Sano ebebua businesses bebre na onipa enya ahoto. Na ufri hoswa munyina munim se ye pese ye bua nsano jumafo in terms of TVET training. No government aye juma bebre in the TVET area. You are investing almost 6 billion Ghana cedis in the last 7 years to help train people in TVET institutions. And in various segments. But we are going to do more. Adia ehia pano se munyina bebre mu apprentices. But problem a ebano ehina umubetimi atna accommodation for apprentices. Any problem? A problem. Accommodation for apprentices. So say ye see hostels ama kaya ye for. Semwate. Ye be see hostels ama apprentices. So omo ye insano ejuma mufa omo na omo tume akotena hostel mo na mo achire omo ejuma no na omo akoye. So we want to do hostels for apprentices. So aka ho na aboa mu nyina say ye di new policy biaba ebia munyenti nka ewo youth employment agencies omo wo businesses no upese ufa obi ejuma but unisika ubetime etuane ka youth employment agency under the business employment assistance program. Omo say business bia yebetime afa nipa mienu na omo atua ka 500 cedis each for every month for 2 people. So person otua omo 1,000 youth employment agency bema of 500 na also the 500 account na yetimi afa memunu bebre wa ejuma mu sano ebebua na ye ko yinim na ufri hoswa na onim se Ghana sere ye kono ye pese ni ye memuni nyina yenya ejuma. So industrialization is going to be very key. So far in the last 7 years, ye created jobs in Ghana, the highest of any government, 2.1 million jobs. So, because the pool is so large, sometimes no yenhu ejuma government aye, but you are creating 1.2 million jobs in the public sector, 975,000 in the private sector. So media Usha MPP yesi yebetimia create jobs ya be paying after 2.1 million jobs in 7 years. In the area of digitalization, we are going to train 1 million youth in ICT skills, coding, and software development. 1 million youth. So we have a job creating policy, the agro-processing, manufacturing, special economic zones na ebebua memuno de nipa omoyensa no ejuma ninyina. So we munyina make ano just to highlight a few areas. Persons with disabilities, for example, because persons with disabilities are qualify to go to university. We will make sure they go to university free through the scholarships that we are going to give persons with disability to go to university free. Both tuition and accommodation expenses government will provide for persons with disabilities to go. We will make sure that we help our chiefs to help government and so on. So very soon the full manifesto will come out. But another the person me boss, especially on the mining issue, my bosses because it's a major change in the way Ghana is going to do its mining policy. Na edim faswo ebebre nyina na nyina etimi akwenim na munyina adane sikafuo na nyina anya faswo everywhere. Midamo ase nyame nshira munyina bako nyame nshira munyina.
Oh yeah. Them go bow down my head, who say bye, I've been boom nessa. Say, I'm a chef waka, Sikati Sadua, Echo, never, on a blue say, you. I see Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie, Bibi Bessie. Okay.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ. DJ Adasi, Obi Antana Simaye.
Obi Antana Simaye. Obi Antana Simaye.
After such a wonderful speech, me feel sankamubo bon sempa. Kamubo bon sempa. His Excellency Papa waya dear pa me boa. Yeda papa say you befa 1 or 2 questions. Yesere mo amugina gina ho mo ntrase because other people were mo chia. Omo pesa omo so omo hwe. Everybody should sit down. Question I'm going. Mobile say Yebefa nipa 5. The rest should sit down. Wow, and yes I have Pamocho nipa 5. 1, 2. Yellow for no okay, bienu.
And minus nipa so mo kwa no question.
Niaka no bi antra sibaye. Director, Obi Antrasi. Hello. Macho Montrasi, my hairdressers. See, we need to acknowledge them. We acknowledge all of you. Okay, then do that quickly.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm saying groups maybe eba to me acknowledge you. It is Youth Parliament, Takwa Nswaye Municipal Assembly. You are welcome. The Men's Youth Association, you are also welcome. Insuta K-Line Association, you are also welcome. And I'm saying NPP are buying a year free SHS. You know, Omote say your man Penina Bedi our year flag bearer Abatakwano. Almost say Omoba now almost over Chidom. It is Fiasek SHS and so Ewaha, Mama Kwaba, Fiasek Ewaha, and now Tasco so Ewaha, Yamamunina Akwaba. Now, Yasanso Ewa Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association, Omuso Waha. Now, Yawo, the Chief Imam for Takwa, Yeshao Ahmed Dodu, opening Yamoakwa Bapa Namishiao.
Alright, question and answers. Pacho. One question. Okay, 3, 4, 5 now.
Okay, thank you very much, Vice President. My name is Yebuan Ponsakwame, a third-year mining engineering student of the University of Mines and Technology. So first, my question is, for those of us who want to move away from mining and do other things, what is the plans for us? And also, I want to ask about your plans to balance the economic benefit of mining with environmental conservation and community development in the mining community, since Takwa is mining. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Me pacho mo question no kase obetumi aka no brofo anase twi yesremo. Thank you.
Ye da se ye ban pedi abedi akiri. Ye de wa no ase ene kasa wa kan kwa sesema wo de ase. Bompia so community mining. Yes, so Oche Okasa Muno, Obeso community mining, small scale mining for Robert Bawumia. The Pesa Bompia community mines, okay, Diakuma, the Pesa who quite a Bafaswa, Oben Wires are pine so. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Kundia Mak, Takwa Community Mining. You spoke about tax amnesty, and we all know tax and development move hand in hand. We want to know, as responsible and legitimate small-scale miners, how do we benefit from the new tax policies you intend to introduce? Thank you.
Kukrudu, Epe Papa, Epe Papa, Epe Papa. Yada Honorable Vice President has said now pro bono no in the also will be put more takwa so chefa. That means we are very, very privileged. In painful on one bay in takwa man yama on akwabo. My question is, I'm a graduate engineer currently with Goldfields. Goldfields happens to be a large scale mining. So I'm equally asking, if you are giving the mandate, Mr. Vice President, please, in Siseben Ogwa Kwema, to absorb more graduates like myself into the large scale mining as well. Thank you.
His Excellency, Joseph Otakwa Community Mining. When you were speaking, you made mention of the smuggling of gold. It's one of the major problems facing our sector, and you are known for the digitalization. We would also like to know how you are going to integrate the digitalization in arresting the gold smuggling from this country. Thank you.
Yo, Yaman Penny, Abedi Chile, Yedika, Yamuapaba.
Midin the James Asari. I'm saying, Okasano now Kasa small scale money. I'm saying small scale money, Yafo Hamu Bebre. Ama Yamu Bebre at of former winter sorry. And until obey, is she said bay, and then what ben now what about small scale money. Young crop for a top form, as you see, sorry, I don't know. Dear share and I walk at the Maya Bema Ikuno, Asanso, Asorijan Naso, Bedasi.
Medine Asantini Yaku. Young father said, foreigners are begging concession. Oma Yemodumari, Oma assassinate for more than 20 years. Ukoha no more Hawagine. Nasam ranch years in your Dumania. Nasi Yakoho. Nasi Betway many of a Chiwa. And yes, she said, now we are men, Sanya Baya, Ranchiano, Ebetway Yagmaya, Medasi.
His Excellency, please, my name is Juliana Benadati, a second-year midwifery student of National Midwifery Training Kalitaka. Please, pay your speech when we're giving your speech. Because Takwa is a mining town, you kept on saying mining. But I think we will also contribute with our vote for you to come to power. So my question is, does it mean that you don't have any plans about the nursing institutions in Ghana, aside the allowance, which doesn't make sense?
Please, His Excellency would answer and then we take the next badge.
Thank you very much for all these about 8 or so questions so far. From mining, for those of you who want to get away from mining, of course, there are many other opportunities outside of mining. If you want to get into something else, you can get into agriculture. That is also a very good and lucrative area for you to look at. Various types of agriculture or aquaculture, they are available for you to do. If you want to get into the area of software development in the IT sector, it is also another area that is very available, very vibrant, and today you people are moving into the digital world. And so if you want to get into the digital world, that is clearly another area. But being into mining, you may decide that you want to move into the environment and deal with giving your knowledge of the environment and how mining affects the environment. You could want to also look in the area of environmental studies or environmental work that people can go into to look at it. But with your engineering background, there are many areas that you can look to. You can look into water and look at how you can help various communities in this area in terms of water. So there are different areas. So mining is not everything. Yeah, you have so many other areas that you can look into. Community mining, that there are 2 questions that are related to community mining. And this is where, as you know, we want to create more community mines. And there are a lot of abandoned shafts of the big mining companies. And we are going to sit down with them and get them to release those shafts so that we give it to you to mine. So we are going to get into that to help you so that those become community mines. And also with the new discoveries that we are going to make, we will be opening more and more community mines for all of you to be working in the area. Tax amnesty, it will benefit all of you. For all of you in the mining sector, as we move to start, the tax amnesty will mean GRA is not going to come and ask you for your tax documents or payments from 2015 all the way today. All of that will be cancelled. Every business will come to zero. You don't owe anything. We all start with the flat tax in 2025, and that will help every business. There's also, in terms of the graduates and the like, how do we help people to become large-scale miners and so on? I believe that once you get into the small-scale mining and you make it, you can easily expand. The large-scale miners, many of them also started as small-scale mining. And I believe that we can grow our miners to start small-scale, go medium-scale, and go large-scale. Once you have the support financially, it can help us to do that. Now, of course, digitalization and smuggling and trying to get this thing is very, very important. I think that these days, you have different ways in which you can tag different commodities and gold and so on, that you can tag them digitally. There's also being able to tell who is actually the miner. Do they have a unique identity? Do they have the Ghana card? Where are the particular areas? But fundamentally, once we have these community mining schemes and the mines, we are going to set up PMMC or Bank of Ghana offices close by, so that once you get, they will be following what the production is from each of these mines, and we will be buying them directly. And therefore you will have less room for smuggling. So we will have accountability to have all of that. Now, how are we going to help small-scale miners? I think that I've already mentioned that number one, we want to license you so that you are a formal operator. Your bank, we are also going to set up a minerals development bank and an equipment plant pool so that you can get equipment, get common user facilities so that you can go and take your tailings and get a lot more gold out of them using common user facilities. So I think all of these new policies will help us very, very much. Then you talk about the health sector, nursing institutions, and so on. I think that, as I said before, I wasn't going to give my entire manifesto. I just wanted to touch on a few things. But the health sector is one area I'm very proud of in terms of what our government has done in the last 7 years. It has not been easy, but since we came in, you've seen that the NHIS arrears, which were so much, we have paid a large, in fact, almost all of the NHIS arrears. I think we are only about 2 terms or so in arrears right now, or so. So we did that. And then you look at the recruitment of nurses. When we came in, there was a whole backlog, and we have recruited about 100,000 health personnel, just health personnel alone. You look at the NHIS, now we are covering sickle cell patients with hydroxyurea. We are now covering childhood cancers. We have brought in drones to deliver medicines to help. We have brought in one constituency, one ambulance to help and then we have now added Agenda 111 to make sure there is no district in Ghana without a district hospital. And we are doing regional hospitals as well. I want us to see in the Western region to build more nursing training colleges. From the data I was given today, I think we need more nursing training colleges in the Western region. And I'm going to push for us to build more nursing training colleges in the Western region so that we can have a lot more training, so that we can have more use. Indeed, once the Agenda 111 hospitals are finished, we are going to need a lot of nurses in all of these hospitals. And many of them are over 70% complete now. And we expect to finish about 40 to 50 this year before December. So we will be recruiting more nurses to basically fill up the spaces in the Agenda 111 hospital. So in fact, we do have a lot of good plans for the health sector, and there are some good announcements that are also going to come in the manifesto. I'll wait for the health committee to present their final report, but they have some very, very good ideas for nurses and for the health sector as a whole. We are with you and will continue to be with you. Thank you.
I think that was a very weak clap. His Excellency deserves better. Thank you. Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to take just 3 questions. 4. I'm done. 4. And we are done. Thank you very, very much. We're going to reach out to each and every group here after this. 5. Yes, sir. We're going to take 5 extra questions and we are done. We'll reach out to all the leadership so that we continue on the engagement after here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Honorable Merkuduka, and then His also Excellency Dr. Bawumia. We believe that everything is possible, that we are going to break the 8 for sure. With regards to that, we spoke about our allowance. Yes, we acknowledge the fact that we receive the allowance, but the truth of the matter is that the allowance is not coming on a regular basis, and also we the first years are not receiving our allowance. And then with regards to the second years, they have just received their allowance for the first year, and the third years have received it just for a year. So we are asking and pleading that if something can be done about it, it should be done immediately. And also, Takwa Nursing and Midwifery Training College happens to be on the mining land, which has a lot of money. And then the community members would bear with me that our school infrastructure is very bad. It is in the worst situation. If Honorable His Excellency the Vice President, of which we are hoping that he becomes the President of Ghana, God willing, 7 December, need us to go on our knees to improve or help us with our infrastructure, we would be happy. Takwa Nursing and Midwifery Training College need a lot of infrastructure. And I think that helping us and repositioning our school institution would help us a lot. Looking at our hostels, the community members would bear with us that we move from longer distances, walking from longer distances to our school. In fact, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, we need your help. We need your help. The people of Takwa Nursing and Midwifery Training College need your help. With regards to that, I am a beauty queen, and then I am embarking on a project which is helping to promote menstrual hygiene in Ghana, and then I started with my community. Per the research I made, I realized that the tax on sanitary pad happens to be 32.5 Ghana cedis, where there is 20% value added tax and 12.5% import tax on sanitary pad, which girls are supposed to use. I realized that UNESCO told us that 1 out of every 4 students miss school because of poor menstrual hygiene, while SDG 6.5 tells us that there would be adequate and equitable sanitation for all. There would be menstrual hygiene for all. Why are Ghanaian youth suffering like this? To be precise, the teenagers suffering like this. I come from a efficient community where the youth are getting pregnant because of that. Honorable His Excellency the President. Thank you.
Hello? Yeah. Please, let's make our questions at least one or two is okay, not beyond that, so that others can take their turn.
Thank you very much. My name is Richard Kodusam, aka Akufo Ado. Honorable, you all know that you have a great vision. My question is, what are the guarantees for youth? What are the guarantees that you are giving to the youth of Ghana between your promises and our opponents? What are the assurances? Because our opponents say that when it comes into such a time, they can say a lot. But yours, the difference is that we have seen a very great vision. As you became the vice president, you are doing. But what are the assurance and the guarantee between you and your opponent? Thank you very much.
Our president, our vice president today, and our president 2025. You are a young man, and all the young men are following you to the victory. Maybe since your prime minister become flag bearer, who idea pa nyamishra, me evangelist. Maybe we chisa nyamishra. First of all, abai mwa ebi pa nyamishra mu. Say mwa commission appeated there two women. And then 6 new regions and more workers. Nyamishra mupa mufata ye. Aban where there may was suggestion the Amagana na above 4 years no 8 years na be is a kurama. Ninyina ni say they want commission appeated house no. A dice ni baby ni papa na ehu hia pa. History ni say God created us. Only guardian of Eden. When see down bia. And now titi mununkofo na sisi ye. Enti yenya special day to recognize landlords. Ne yen set day farmer wo. Na fe yembua edansi esise na mbua. Ne yenya unions ahudo na mbua. Through that union obi abenya paint no paint ni dan o man ne be yefe. Obi si ni dan no obi ya ne aboa no na wesi. Afe wo mo esisi dan basabasa na wo mo agyan na atimi aboa. Afe vice president land one more dia asasi man yesi dan 100 years 200 years 300 years someone regulate as dinosaurs na ye bewuna ye nananum na dey you must regulate the land ye dey see the land must you be regulated.
Thank you.
Good evening to you all. Please, my name is Owusu Mensah Abigail from Tapa Senior High, On behalf of Takwa Senior High and Fiasman Senior High, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for the great policy implemented, that's the free SHS, and also sharing the tablets for us. And as Oliver Twist, we will always ask for more. I want to ask that when you were talking, His Excellency, please, when you were talking, you made mention of sending money to the TVET. And I want to ask you, what plan do you have in mind? Like, what another plan do you have in mind for the senior high school? Thank you.
On that note, we are done with the questions. Everybody should resume their seats. We are done. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This has been an excellent set of questions again. I think that our first question of this last set came up about the alawa and the irregularity in the payment of the allowances. And I think that is, in fact, the case, as you have put it, and we are going to have to try to make it more regular. So what I can tell you is that I'm going to sit down with the Minister for Finance for us to have a discussion to see how we can make sure your allowances become regular. I think that the infrastructure that we have in many of our schools, including senior high schools and Takwa Nursing and Midwifery Training School, the poor state of that infrastructure. And it's very, very important that we implement policies to do this. I have an idea which I have discussed. I've already mentioned it in my speech on February 7th, which I've discussed with Charles. As far as government is concerned, I want us to give more of a role to the private sector to build a lot more of the infrastructure in our schools and other places. If you go to the universities like Tech, Legon, the hostels are built by the private sector. It's not the public, it's not government. But if they build it, government can rent it. And so I'm bringing a new policy in terms of bringing in the private sector to finance a lot of infrastructure. And when that comes in, all facilities will be completed, because we will reach an agreement with the private sector that if you build this, we will rent it for the next 15 years and then it will revert to ownership of government or 20 years. So when we do that, the private sector is prepared to build the classroom, prepared to build the dormitory, prepared to build the dining hall, prepared to build the assembly hall, knowing that government will rent it. Once we enter into that off-taker agreement with the private sector, there will be no problem with infrastructure in our schools. Because a lot of the time, the delays come from government not collecting enough tax revenue to be able to pay the contractors. But if you move it to the private sector, government will not be paying as much every year for our infrastructure. So I am going to also follow up, and Miracle Duka is here. We will have to look at how to deal with the infrastructure in Takwa Nursing and Midwifery Training School. But I think long term, we need to bring in the private sector to help us in doing this. The issue of sanitary pads is also very, very important. And it is something that we are looking at, and I am sure you are going to hear something about it very soon. The youth in Ghana, what are the assurances? What is the difference between me and my opponent? The bottom line is this: I and our government and I have demonstrated a commitment to the youth. I have demonstrated that. If you take education, we felt that for a country to go forward, the youth have to be educated. And this is why we brought free senior high school education. And it has been very expensive, but very worthwhile. My opponent said it would not work and he would not support it. But it has worked. If it was left to Asumesi, we would not have free senior high school education in Ghana. Then we said, to help the youth, let us encourage skills training. And therefore, let us encourage them to go to TVET to acquire skills. So we've also made TVET free. And we've invested billions of cedis in TVET. The 34 National Vocational and Technical Institutes, we have revamped them massively. We are building 32 state-of-the-art TVET institutions as we speak. The 10 technical universities and the 13 technical institutes, we've spent $119 million to re-equip them. So in the area of TVET, for example, we have done a lot to help our people. So in the area of education, if you look at what we've also done in the area of youth employment, we've done a lot. The employment as a whole, when we look at the data, 2.1 million jobs. So we have been creating employment. During COVID, we didn't lay off one public sector worker. Not one. We continued to keep everybody on the payroll. During COVID, when other countries were laying off workers, Ghana refused to do that. We kept everybody in, and we rather recruited more people, more nurses, more doctors, and so on. So we have demonstrated that we care about the youth. If you look at sports, we have invested more in sports facilities in Ghana than any other government in our history. And that is for the youth. When we came into office, you only had 3 astroturfs in Ghana. Today you have over 150 astroturfs in Ghana. From 3. And then if you look at the sports stadia that we are building, recently we did Boteman, we've done University of Ghana, and in all the regions we are building sports stadia, the all 10 regions. And so in terms of sports facilities, nobody can come close. Then you look at digitalization. Digitalization is something that directly benefits the youth. And what we have done in the area of digital, Ghana card, today, if you have a Ghana card and you are a student, you don't need a guarantor to get a student loan. This is really helping. Digital address, we are starting off business, e-commerce, you need digital addresses to let people come to order things from you and so on. The whole digital space is really driven by the youth. And so if you look at what we have done, then there is going to be a big thing. We are also about to launch something which is going to help not only the youth, but all Ghanaians and all businesses. If you look at what happens abroad versus what happens in Ghana, the difference between the worker abroad and the worker in Ghana is one thing. They have access to credit, and our workers don't have access to credit. So if you are working abroad and you earn $1,000, you are able to spend up to $10,000 because you get credit and you pay bit by bit. In Ghana, you don't have those credit facilities. Why don't we have it? It's because you don't have individualized credit scoring. Abroad, everybody has a credit score. So the banks and the financial institutions, those who sell furniture, those who sell TVs, those who sell fridges, they can tell your credit score. And on the basis of your credit score, they will decide to give you credit. In Ghana, we never had it. But thanks to digitalization, thanks to the integration of the databases, Ghana this year, we are going to start credit scoring. We will be maybe the second country in sub-Saharan Africa, outside of South Africa, to start credit scoring. So it will then be easier for you to get credit. So if you want to buy a car, you don't have to wait and save all the money to buy a car. If you want to buy a TV, you don't have to. If you want to buy furniture, the workers, and especially when you are the youth, you can start and access credit. When you are renting a house, we've started the National Rental Assistance Scheme so that you don't have to pay 2 years rent advance. The National Rental Assistance Scheme will pay it for you, and then you only pay monthly. And it has worked so far, so I'm going to expand it significantly if by the grace of God I become President of the Republic of Ghana in 2025. The issue of housing is a very, very important one. You said it. I was in Apiate today. We commissioned the houses. We want to obviously recognize all the landlords, but we also want to build more houses. And I'm happy with what the Minister for Works and Housing is doing, and we are going to encourage the private sector to come and join with us and try and use as much local materials like we did in Apiate to do the houses. Free SHS, I think we are doing very good so far. The one student, one tablet, the tablets are being distributed. It is going well. I think we will looking at ways to improve it. Where one of the bigger things I want to do is what I talked about now. We want to make sure every senior high school has a school bus. Some senior high schools don't have. Every nursing training college must have a school bus, and all of that infrastructure can be put in place, because government will no longer be buying these buses at a go. We are rather going to lease them and pay them monthly, and the leaseor will have the responsibility for the maintenance of these buses, so that the outlay in payments for this will be small. All that. This is new thinking, new ideas. We are going to solve these problems by the grace of God. Thank you all very, very, very much. God bless you.
His Excellency, I've been boom nice, and go see